Thanks for joining us, and if you're ready, we're ready. Here we go.
We're ready.
Oh, that doesn't work.
Yeah, right. Everybody else is ready but Tom.
You know, it never fails, does it? Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show. Just ahead, Mr. Mars has an interesting story in his series on banned race cars. This one on the Brabham. Plus, we'll have the upcoming events calendar and today's Auto News headlines, along with a couple of guests I think that you're going to find real interesting. So we invite you to stay tuned. It's all just ahead on today's live In Wheel Time Car Show from Studio A in Texas, USA. Howdy. Along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more, Jeff Zekin.
We do.
I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us. None of us have had any sleep. And you probably haven't either, because we all stayed up watching the Astros
Shut out the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, baby.
Eat that, Boston.
So I have a friend of mine by the name of Bob Boudreau. He used to be on Channel 13 years
I know
ago.
the name.
He now lives in Prague,
Wow.
and he is an actor. He's a stage actor, and he does a lot of Shakespeare stuff. I know. Great guy. He apparently got himself toasted last night.
Uh-oh.
It looked like bourbon that he was drinking, and he went on after they won, and his rant goes on and on and on, and it is so good I can't even ever begin to tell you how good that rant was. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock in the morning over here in Prague. It's classic. It's beautiful, wonderful. So,
Just another one of your drunk friends.
Yeah. I got them all here too. There's that.
We're all out.
We're all out.
We're out.
So we're waiting on Todd. Is that correct, Mr. Mars?
Well, I got a picture of Todd. I just got to get the audio going.
Oh, that would be a good thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Todd, wave at us if you can hear us.
Yeah, do that.
Todd can hear us. Now I need to see if I can hear Todd.
Hi, Todd. How are you?
Good. How you doing, guys?
Very well, thank you. It's good to be with you this morning.
You want to bring him up? Here we go.
Pardon me?
Yeah,
We're all trying to get our act
we've been here
together.
for 2 hours trying to get our act together. and
Todd,
we're
did
still
you
working on it.
happen to stay up for the game last night?
I did actually. I was. I'm a musician also, so I had a gig, and they had the game on during the gig, so it was good.
So you're just now coming back from that.
Yeah, you haven't had any sleep either.
Yeah, he's on his way home.
I don't know why I agreed to this.
We don't know either. Matter of fact, we don't even want to do the show this morning, so we'll just call it all off.
We're looking for a best of.
So what instrument do you play?
I'm a guitar singer.
Oh, okay.
And Jeff
Jeffrey's
is a drummer.
Yeah.
So if you need a drummer, we got Jeff Zekin over
There you
here.
go.
Oh, geez.
Don
Now we
plays
got
the
a band.
organ.
Yeah, I play the organ. Don't ask me what kind.
It's a
I don't want to go there.
So we can assume that you're sitting in your record-setting car.
As a matter of fact, the whole family's sleeping, so I figured I would go out to the garage.
You know what? You need to fire it up. Let's hear it.
Oh, I don't think that. That might wake the
Yeah,
whole
no,
family up.
let's not do that. So this is a it's called the Black Horse Turbo, and it's a 997.1 Porsche GT3 Turbo, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
So tell us about the car.
Of course, it was born in Stuttgart as a naturally aspirated GT3, as they all are, and we got the crazy idea to put turbos on it to kind of make it more like a GT2, but with a narrow body. And the goal was to build a fast half-mile car with a narrow body, with a lot of power, and try to take on the challenge of rear-wheel drive only. So. It only has two wheels powering what we nearly make 1,500 horsepower now. So traction's always an issue.
Out of a 3.6 liter?
Well, it's currently a 4 liter.
4 liter.
So yeah, it was a 3.6 from the factory, but now it's a 4 liter.
1,500 horsepower out of 2 Coke bottles.
So is this a flat 6?
Oh yeah.
It still is a flat 6 boxer motor. The same engine case that it's a stock engine case. You can't really modify these Metzger motors, except for the internals. So all the internals, the crank, pistons, rods, everything's been upgraded to the strongest available parts.
Who did the engine work for you?
So currently, Evo Spec out of Phoenix does all of the engine work, the engine development on this car for the past 5-6 years. Fortunately, they support this racing habit that I have, but because without them, it would be a little too expensive, because we build this motor, and we have built this motor 5 times, just testing new things out, testing what this thing can handle. And I think we're at a point now where it's, quote, reliable.
Cool. So when you talk about the upgraded engine parts, crank rods, pistons, and such, typically, in my view of the world, most of the people that are selling upgraded Porsche parts are selling parts to go road racing. How do you find a vendor that's going speed racing, for lack of a better phrase, to collect parts from? Or do those parts that you're putting in kind of have a dual use?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, these cars are generally supposed to be road course cars, and that's exactly what they're made for. But there's a community out there of high-speed junkies that will take any car and turn it into, a 200-mile car. We've got guys making, Honda or Acura Integras going over 200 miles an hour. So we're all in this group of people who make cars do what they're not supposed to do, basically.
And what group is this? Because we want to be a part of that.
Well, there's events all over the country. Shift Sector is one that do 5-6 events a year, half-mile racing. Texas 2K here in Houston. There's a lot of events, the streetcar takeovers that are held at racetracks. All these events are either held at racetracks or airports. And we need the airports because, the runways are 4,000 to 7,000 feet long. And, some of these cars need that extra room to stop. But getting back to your question, the engine parts, generally could go both ways for road course and for high speed stuff. Okay. But Evo Spec is generally producing high horsepower, reliable engines in the 12 to 14 to 1500 horsepower range. There are a couple making over 1900, wow. But we're having a hard time keeping those things together.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nitro car at the drag strip. It's pull a pin on a grenade, make 1900 horsepower for a very short period of time, and then rebuild or replace.
Yep. Is this a streetable car?
Oh, 100%. I took it to work yesterday.
I took my 1,500 horsepower Porsche to work.
He works
yesterday.
at the airport.
Well, I mean, we can't see the outside of the car, but does it look stock?
It's completely stock from the outside. There are no aero changes. The wheels are stock. So from the outside, it looks completely stock.
Yeah.
It's just a little louder than the normal GT3.
and the fact that it's got roll cage inside of it.
Yeah, a lot of the GT3s have the roll cage because they're road coursing these cars anyway. So this one I have, actually, I don't know if you can see, I got a GoPro still stuck up here from the event.
We see it.
I literally pulled it off the trailer yesterday to take it to work because my truck was getting an oil change. So I'm like, I might as well take it.
Fun. Why not?
Yeah. It's a good day to take it, too.
So when you take it to set these records, and I believe your record was 2:09 in a standing half mile. So from a dead stop to at the end of a half mile, they speed trap you, and you're doing 209 miles an hour. You don't run stock wheels on it.
Yeah, stock wheels. The only thing that I run on the rear is as far as a tire is a Nitto drag radial.
Okay.
But the front tires are stock Michelin PS4s.
And they're rated for 200 plus.
There aren't really any tires that I know of that are rated for 200 plus at this point.
Well, that's kind of why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think the highest rating would be like the 180s, 190s, and that would be a Z or an X.
Our ex-tire guy here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to House of Speed or the Texas Mile next week?
No, I have plans next week. The Texas Mile is a great event. Been going to that for years.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But we've geared this car specifically for the half mile, so it gears out at 217. And so I would ride the rev limiter, and it hits 217, 100 feet after the half mile. So I would just ride the rev limiter all the way out to 1 mile, and I don't need to put that kind of abuse on the motor.
Stress on it.
That's what I was wondering about, because obviously if you're going that extra half mile, there's got to be some abuse, because I've seen a couple other people say they're not going to run the mile anymore. They're going back down to the half mile, and even some of them talking about quarter miles.
Yeah, we can't run the full mile in this unless we re-geared, and 20, 30 seconds at wide open throttle on these engines is a bit much to ask.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
And what when you're going through the traps at 209 to 217, what's your RPM?
At the half mile now, we're still, I believe, somewhere around 6,800, and it revs out to 84.
Wow. Okay. Well, and when does the aerodynamics when does the airflow over the car have that big of a negative impact? At what speed do you realize that that's where the power has to overcome that much more?
You got to hit a wall at some time on that.
Yeah, I would imagine, Porsche has engineered these things probably to be more efficient within the 160, 180 range. But the car is completely planted. It drifts a little bit in the middle of the run, maybe about 180, 190. It'll move maybe a lane, but at high speed, you just let it do its thing, and you just follow it. And if once it hits about 200, it really doesn't move, and it just rides it out very smoothly. I mean, the only thing we haven't done is taken off the wing, but I don't know if that's going to really provide any advantage.
But you do tune the wing to get your speed, though, don't you?
The car has completely 100%. All the aero is not changed. So whatever came from the factory with the GT2 or GT3 9971 wing,
wow,
we haven't changed anything. Front aero, rear aero.
Is that a requirement, or is that something that you just want to keep it as is?
No, there's no requirement. You can do what you want at these events. The only thing we may have considered is taking off the side view mirrors, but and I do tape up the sunroof because the sunroof decides to want to lift, at 200 plus. So we tape that down, but that's about it for aero.
Do you also tape the front? I'm sorry, I'm gonna use a Corvette term. Forgive me. The frunk gaps in the door gaps, or do you? Do you not mess with that?
Yeah, no, I probably would, but we have to access the frunk before each run because that's where the ice box is. Because this car runs air to water intercoolers because it didn't come with intercoolers and doesn't have any inlets to allow air into the intercooler. So we have a tank in the front that we put ice in, and it runs ice water through each run. So our intake air temperatures, start at 60 degrees and, they don't climb much because it's ice water running through. So the engine always thinks it's the fall outside.
Well, dense air is oxygen-rich air makes horsepower. The more fuel you
got
can
ice
throw
in
in.
the veins. Ice in
How
the
cool
veins.
is that?
What year is this car?
It's an 07.
An 07 car. How many miles does it have on it?
Just over 50.
50?
Half a mile at a time.
Half a mile. But no, he drives it back and forth to work, apparently.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, it's a daily.
That's just
neat.
I'm just trying to absorb all of this, thinking, wow, 1,500 horsepower car. Okay, so when you go side by side at like say a drag strip, who are your competitors? Who's able to keep up with you?
This car actually competes really well with the twin turbo Lamborghinis and R8s that are in the 14 to 1,500 horsepower range.
Yeah.
And all those cars have a DCT or automatic transmission to where they just hit the gas and hold on.
Right.
In the meantime, I'm over here shifting. So what I like about these events is that it's not an ET competition. It's a trap speed competition, so they could leave and launch as hard as they want because all that matters is the trap speed. I had my closest race this weekend against a 1,450 horsepower R8 that he trapped 209 and I trapped 208.9. So it was 1/10 of a mile an hour slower.
Wow.
So we're real proud of this car competing with those cars because those cars are monsters.
Plus, they're all-wheel drive.
And they're all-wheel drive.
Right.
Yeah.
So the traction issue makes a big difference.
So besides changing the rear tires on the car, do you do any special tune to the car when you're going to do these events?
Versus your street tune.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The Cyvex, it has an aftermarket ECU standalone. So we're not using the Porsche ECU. We're just using a Cyvex standalone, which is tuned by Wayne Potts. And we do tune at the events after we've done some dyno runs. So we'll do a couple of dyno pulls before each event, have a pretty good idea of what the car's health is. And then when we get to the events, we'll do some passes and then they'll check the logs. He'll make changes in between each run. And it's usually me asking for more PSI. But normally when the car is healthy, all they're doing is just adding more PSI, which is what we did recently in Abilene. The car is so dialed in that all they were doing was giving me more boost, and it was just getting faster and faster.
Are you worried about blowing it up?
Right, all the time.
Every run.
Yeah, I mean, it's always in the back of your mind because I don't lift. Once my foot is fully depressed on the accelerator from the start, it never comes up. I just clutch and shift. As a matter of fact, I don't even need the clutch because I have a dog box. And so the dog rings allow for engagement without the clutch, but we use the clutch pressure to cut throttle between each shift just to keep the boost up. So on the street, yeah, I can run full power because we run E85, just ethanol gas I can use from the pump.
I'll be darned.
How many folks are in your group? And you say we tune and we do this. Is there a crew?
What's your support crews look like?
Did you recruit these people from the bowling team? Or I mean, it's like that's what it sounds like to me. You know, the Friday night bowling team. Well, let's see what we can do this week if we can get a couple of 300s out of it.
Just don't touch anything else.
The only thing that's missing is the beer.
Whoa. We'll get to that.
And we're glad for that. Thank goodness.
That's later.
That's right.
But yeah, I do have a team. I've got a great team. I got Steve Ott at Driver Source who takes care of the car in between events. Wayne Potts does all the tuning with the Cyvex. And John Bray at EvoSpec builds the engines. He keeps me sane because he covers all the engine development. So anytime the car has a problem or the engine has a problem, he takes care of it fully. He's one of my sponsors, so he takes care of all of that for me. So it's some weight off my back when I'm at the events because I know he's there, the tuner's there, and everybody's making decisions together. So it's not just me in case it blows up. They don't just point the finger and say, you should have lifted, you know?
Right. How did you meet these guys and bring this team together? That's always a curiosity for me.
I know. You just get involved in early on, it was forums. We were all in like a Porsche forum and modification of Porsches. And then just over the years, you just develop friendships. And, if I didn't have this team, I'd find another hobby because these are the best guys in the business, especially for Porsches. Wayne does tuning on all, Lamborghinis and basically anything a Cyvex is in. But John Bray at EvoSpec, all they build are Porsche motors. So I've just lucked out and I have a really great, support crew.
So one of the things you had mentioned way back at the beginning was that you chose the GT2 because it was a narrow body, or excuse me, the GT3 because it was a narrow body versus the GT2, which has got the wider rear fenders, purely for aerodynamics, correct?
Right. You say narrow body. I think the GT3 is probably 1 inch, narrower than a GT2 probably. But that was just the whole idea, just to cut down on the wind resistance and try to buy a more slippery car. And then it's turned into more of it's unique. There are only a handful of turbo GT3s in the world. So, I don't know if it's stupidity or, wanting to be different, but it definitely
novelty
is
of
unique.
it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's just the uniqueness of I've got one, nana boo-boo, I set the record.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
There's only one GT3 turbo at these events, when there's could be 10 Lamborghinis or whatnot. So it is fun to be unique. It's a head turner. A lot of people come up to us in the pits and say, man, this is my favorite car at the event. And, it's just so cool to see this with rear-wheel drive competing with these big cars.
Do you have any friends that have Corvettes out there in the circuit that you run in?
Of course. Yeah, I would probably say Corvettes are the most popular car at these events.
And then the CTS Vs. There's, when I went to, there was one, this was a number of years ago, out at Marble Falls, out at the airport at Marble Falls. And I went out there as the announcer, actually. And I was amazed at the wide range of cars that were there. I was expecting all high-dollar exotics to be there running this. There was some guy running a 79 Pontiac Trans Am.
Oh, yeah.
And then just a flood of what I looked at as probably streetable CTSVs that were generally in the 140 to 165, 169 range. And then, then the underground racing twin turbo Lamborghinis and such, and they were all the only cars that were really running
no station
north
wagons.
of 200.
Yeah, well, what a unique thing that you got going there. I'm kind of jealous in a way. And so, when do you normally have these get-togethers? Is it a Saturday, a Sunday? How does that work usually?
Yeah, these events are normally over a weekend,
Gotcha.
Saturday and Sunday. Some of the larger events, can go over 4 days. But usually it's a Saturday and Sunday or just a Saturday. Yeah.
Well, Todd, will you please stay in touch with us and let us, because we want to be your race fan and we want to keep up with you and how things are going, who you competed against and speeds and where you're going next. So will you do that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And if your listeners want to follow, it's Black Horse Turbo Racing on Instagram and on Facebook. And you can follow everything that we do. I try to post, try to keep an open book. And what was funny, a friend of mine is at Nürburgring this weekend, and he sends me a video, and he's sitting next to these guys at a pub, and he goes, "Hey Todd, you're famous. These guys know about your 209 record here, all the way in Germany."
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, well, now you got some more fans here in Sugar Land.
There you
so
go.
We really appreciate you taking the time, getting out of bed this morning. Now you can go back to bed and breathe easy.
All right, guys. Great talking to you again. I really appreciate the invite.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. We appreciate you as well. Hey, you're on the In Wheel Time Car Show. If you'd like to get in touch with us anytime, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for the events calendar. Conrad always manages to put together the events. So what's going on?
Again, Nifty 50s, and they kind of swapped. It was supposed to be this weekend was supposed to be their trunk or treat event, and because they were anticipating some rain tonight, they went ahead and moved it till next week.
Well, it should be next weekend anyway.
Right, well,
because it's Halloween weekend.
That's kind of what I thought, but Randy had it originally set up for this week. So, but they're going to do their trunk or treat event again up at Grogan's Mill. The Monster Classic, Saturday, October 23rd, Saturday, October 30th. And then Kima Car Meet, as always, 6 to 9 p.m. And then next Friday is, like we talked with Todd, is the Texas Mile down at Chase Field out in, not Giddings, I was going to say Giddings. But did I goof that up already? Don, I drive you nuts with this, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
And then
you've already rehearsed it because you put it down on the piece of paper, then you ball it all up.
October 29th, starting at 9:30 a.m. through the 31st, ending at 4 p.m., is the Texas Mile at Chase Field. Also next Saturday is the Chaotic Coffee Halloween at the French Press Coffee House in Houston. And then the 13th annual Halloween Car Show in and 415 Barron Springs, which is the funeral home or the funeral museum off of I-45 up near Rankin Road. And then I'll give it back to you, Don.
Back to you.
After this, you give it back to me.
It's a throwback.
God. You know,
the weird thing is I actually do practice this, and then I look at you and I
Not
go,
very-
Don't tell anybody that.
Not
And I
very
look at
well.
you and I
don't
go
need to
blank.
practice that.
yeah, well, you know, it's supposed to be a 1 minute little featurette.
You make me nervous,
and you
Don.
turn it into a 2.5
7.5
minutes. Yeah, 7.5. All right, let's move on. Mr. Mars' turn. Let's see what he can do with banned race cars and the Brabham.
Yes, we're going to be talking about the Brabham.
No, we're not going to be. We are talking about the Brabham.
Did you rehearse this?
We're going to start.
Nobody has gotten any sleep, so forgive us, please.
We're going to start with the BT46. Now, this is a Formula One car, and it was designed back in the 70s for the 1978 Formula One season. Did a lot of little things with this vehicle. And, Jeff, hold it right there for a minute.
You bet.
And this thing is running a flat 12 engine. It's really kind of cool, I think, to be that big because it'll turn out 520 horsepower at 12,000 RPM.
Singer
So this
sewing
thing,
machine.
yeah, man, it gets up and buzzes. So it did a lot of things as far as the suspension, the magnesium alloy block, aluminum crankcase. And, I mean, it did this combination with aluminum heads. It did a lot of things here, including originally taking out the radiators and putting some heat transfer devices on the side panels of the car. And the idea was to eliminate the weight up off the nose, put the weight on the middle of the car, closer to the engine, make it more stable and grip the road better. Unfortunately, it didn't have enough cooling, so that didn't last very long. It didn't take them long to throw that out. It was running a 6-speed gearbox. And what really set it off, Jeff, if you go to the next picture, please, they came out with the B car. Now, we talked before about how the J2 was a car with fans that were run by a separate motor that got banned. Well, this one took the fan and tied it to the engine, the V12, the flap 12, so that it ran off of it. And again, same concept. They streamlined underneath the car. It sucked the air out from underneath the car. Of course, it was originally put in for cooling purposes. Needed more cooling on this 12.
They needed to pull more air through the cooling system.
So cool it. But this ran off the engine. So when they revved the engine, even setting still, they could rev the engine, the fan you could see the car suck down. You could see it drop down. So that kind of sounds like that's really cool, but you got to think about you're going through a curve. You're going to let off the gas a little bit so the grip on the road changes as you're driving the course. You let off the accelerator, it loosens up. So it created some problems for the drivers. They didn't particularly care about it. And Mario Andretti said it was like a vacuum cleaner, and he hated it. They all protested
so it sucked.
Yes, it sucked really
They probably
bad.
threw debris at the guy behind you.
Well, that was his complaint, that it was throwing stuff. Of course, they said that the air coming out of the fan exit was only at 55 miles an hour, regardless of how fast they were going. But if you think about it, tied to that V12, how do you know that? If it's doing 12,000 RPM, that fan in the back is going to be doing something close to that. Anyway, so they did have this big thing over it. They finally decided it could race for that season. It could finish the season, but then it was out.
And how did it do?
But it won that one race that it ran in. After that, they pulled the car off. Too much controversy, but it wasn't technically banned. Yeah, it was, because they said after the year, it was over. You're out.
Another fine banned race car story.
So if you clean out your vacuum cleaner, does that make you a vacuum cleaner?
Okay. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast provider. In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
Let me tell you about a locally owned and operated group of dealerships called Bayway. Bayway owner Daryl Wisniewski is born and raised right here, and he knows Houstonians better than anyone. Daryl's been in the Houston car business since high school. Houston experience that you just can't get at other dealerships. Once you step into a Bayway dealership, you'll want to become part of the Bayway family too. Feel good that you're part of Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com, BaywayChevrolet.com, and BaywayLincoln.com. Remember the name, Bayway. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly cruise-in, will return Saturday, December 18th to the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Tailpipes and Tacos wants to thank all of the participants and fans who've enjoyed the collector cars, hot rods, customs, originals, and resto mods, and everything in between. We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving and Autorama, but we'll be back for a great Christmas cruise-in on December 18th, so make plans now. You know that Tailpipes and Tacos is the Houston area's coolest cruise-in, a place you'll see friends, family, and the finest cruise-in cars in the Houston area. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise-in, Loopy style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos on December 18th. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.
Live from the In-Wheel Time Studios in Sugar Land,
You
Texas.
forgot where you were?
I did. It is the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we're glad that you made it. We're going to have stories making automotive news headlines this week. We've got a couple of other features that we're going to bring to you, and we're also going to talk to the Cadillac Allante Car Club. Remember the Allante?
Oh, yeah.
There's a club. Apparently, there's more than one.
Yep.
Still left.
Oh, there's quite a few
Well,
of them.
apparently there are, and I didn't know that, and so we're going to delve into that. And thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday after the American League Championship Series, and the Houston Astros are
Shutout victory, Beantown.
Woo!
I heard, didn't the Yankees lost in getting into this?
This past summer?
Right.
No, they've lost. They've been losing for a long time.
Do you know what the difference is between a hot dog at Minute Maid Park and a hot dog in Yankee Stadium?
I don't know if I want to ask.
You can still get a hot dog in October.
Oh!
And you can use that anywhere that
Anywhere you want.
to.
Yeah, I stole it, so you can steal it.
Well, at any rate, so we wanted to talk to John Maida. We got a hold of John, and John is a member of the Cadillac Allante Car Club. John, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
I love
Did you stay up last night, or are you not a baseball fan?
I did stay up, yes.
Well, even if you're not a
great.
baseball fan, I think that everybody really stayed up last night just
Yeah,
to
you gotta
see
watch it,
just
yeah.
to see what was going on. I mean, I'm kind of a passing, so to speak, passive baseball fan, but I really did get excited last night. I'm sure you did
it's
too.
Houston.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're all for Houston. So, John, Cadillac
Go
Allante Club. How long have you had an Allante?
I had my Allante for 30 years
Oh my gosh!
behind me.
Wow. Well, it's beautiful. And tell us a little bit about the Allante, because I think that a lot of people really don't know too much about the Allante. It wasn't made very long.
Right. This was GM's attempt to bring Cadillac into the sport age, and they wanted a roadster to compete with the Mercedes-Benz 450 500 series and the Jaguar convertible at the time. And so they teamed with Pininfarina out of Italy, and in Torino, Italy. And at the end of the day, oops, upside down. At the end of the day, I'm not sure if you can see this reflection here, but that's a Testarossa Ferrari, and then those are Allantes on the same assembly line in the Pininfarina plant.
Oh, wow.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes, we see it. Yes.
All right. This is circa. So this particular assembly line took the place of the Fiat Spider, if you remember that. And its last production year was 1985. And the Allante for '87, the first introduction, the first model year, was put into production '86, and it produced from basically from 1986 or so to 1986 to 1993 was the last year. So about a 7-year production run. They produced about 21,000 of these units, give or take a few. Who cares? I'm a scientist. I'm not going to give you an exact number. But there was quite a bit of media hype, and Cadillac invested over $1 billion. It was an amazing amount.
Wow.
But this was their new. This is this text here is the press conference text, just showing what they had to do with the 747 jets to bring the bodies without engines to the Hamtramck from Torino, Italy, to the Hamtramck, Michigan plant to marry it with a GM powertrain to transverse mounted V8 system, front wheel drive. But the cars, when they came out, this Roadster was MSRPing at $55,000. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah,
which is a ton of money back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went up to $65,000 for the North Star year, the first year. That was 1993. So today, to build this car in this fashion with this 4,000-mile air bridge, the longest production line of any automobile, would probably put it in the $120,000 to $150,000 range on the showroom floor today, maybe close to $150,000, just because what went in it. It has aluminum parts. Behind me, you can see the hard top. They all came as soft tops, and the hard top was optional, but that's an aluminum hard top, about 60 pounds. Similar to the Benz of the time, you'd take it on and off. It wasn't a folding unit. The soft top is a German fabric. The seats are Austrian leather seats, Recaro seats. And of course, this is a pearlescent white tri-coat or so. But the hood and the trunk are aluminum. The sides are steel. And the car is fairly light, and she goes very good. And big trunk, and we enjoy it. Great for antiquing. We have regular caravans. There are groups, not really cult groups, but we are party groups, and we just go around the countryside like you'd have a set of bikers, but instead we're convertibles, and we'll small groups, and we tour around the environs, and there are some fairly large meets, but these folks that keep these cars are very dedicated, and we're trying to keep them as stock as possible in most cases.
Hey, John, why didn't this car succeed for Cadillac?
Say that again.
Why didn't this car succeed for Cadillac?
Complexity, I believe. The buyer at that time was a Cadillac buyer, and Cadillac buyers were typically your older crowds. And the top on it was as a pseudo manual automatic motor top, and there were two phases of the top. There was a phase one, which I have here, with the conventional latches that we had in the 60s and 50s. And then there's the phase two top that had some front screw motors for the windshield and back, and it was not a one-button getaway thing. This was a complex folding mechanism. That was one issue that I could see, the largest issue with complexity. And but there are thousands of parts in the cars, four 80s era computers with microprocessors from the 80s. Speed-dependent damping. It tells you what light bulb is out through a current sensing mechanism. It just all sorts of features. Run home mode. If your engine's overheating, it'll switch to 4 cylinders. That sort of thing. It was very complicated. A lot of sensors. So if you're into electronics, and you want something challenging,
Oh, that was so advanced at the time when they released. I was working for General Motors at the time and actually spent time at Hamtramck. We were building Oldsmobiles, but alongside it, the Allantes were getting their separate assembly process. And a lot of new things on that car were brought to the industry. That was Cadillac's first foray into tri-coat painting, or the pearl paint. Cadillac also originally had a guarantee of value, used car value of it, that was tied to the Mercedes SL class.
Right.
That they were going to guarantee the used car value to hold the same percentage as the S class.
John, were there any real problems with the car over the years that they discovered once they started building it? Engine problems, transmission, anything like that?
Talking about like recalls?
Well, at first, at first there were no issues, but we did start seeing some issues at 15 years out or so. The early aluminum blocks and the need to change your coolant in these aluminum blocks. You don't want to leave your coolant in there sitting around, and you want to drive the cars. And but other than that, I mean, folks put a lot of money into their engines. Okay, let's just face it. Let's all, in this group. Okay, you're going to have to service things like engine. There's there's a lot of chemistry going on there, aqueous chemistry, and oil leaks. I mean, it's Cadillac's transverse V8. These had there were 3 different engines. The 4.1 was the first model year for 87, 88. Then they transitioned to the 4.5 liter. Which had a larger intake organ pipe system on it to give it a little more horsepower compared to the Seville and the Eldorado at the time. That went from 89 to 92. And then in 93, they actually 92 and a half, they introduced the first generation North Star 32 valve system.
And that really, to me, that was the pinnacle of Allante when they finally put the North Star in it. Because the HT 4100 and the HT 4500, they had their issues as an engine regardless of what Cadillac you put them in. But the North Star, having just been out, was a perfect fit for that car because it gave it power, performance, and technology.
Yes. It gives maybe 75 more horsepower. So it is quick. The 93 is a quicker car, a faster car. But there are other things you can do we won't talk about today that you can equally make them quick. But
hey, John,
again, it's all about stock and keeping them stock.
John, a couple of times you mentioned the air bridge assembly line. I don't know that everybody understood exactly what you were talking about. Could you kind of touch on that a little bit more?
Right. So there were 2 commissioned 747 jets that were would fit 56, I believe, empty
Allante bodies,
finished cars, which you see here on the production line at Pininfarina with the Ferrari. Those have no engines in them. Okay, so these have no engines, but they're fully fitted with all the European parts, German door struts, hinges, tops, seats,
interior, everything,
and painted with the Italian paint. And then they would go over into those 747s. And as I showed you here, and I don't know where that picture, Alitalia and Lufthansa. There were 2 that they were commissioned to bring them over to Hamtramck, Michigan, and they would drop them here. They'd go onto the assembly line to receive the underbody suspension and front end drivetrain, and then not spare parts, but parts that go into the cockpit. American Electronics, General Motors Electronics went into this car. This is just Pininfarina. It was just a coach builder.
Right.
Those parts would go flying back on that 747 to Torino, Italy, to be incorporated in the next shipment.
Man, not a very cost-efficient way of building a car.
No, and that was part of why the car was as expensive it was. But one of the things Cadillac really promoted was the Pininfarina production process of it, and this air bridge was all quite a bit of their advertising.
John, let's talk about the car club itself. How many members and how many cars are in the Cadillac Allante Car Club?
Well, at the peak, I mean, it started out as the Allante Appreciation Group in 1993, 1994, the last production year. And again, they were having issues with guaranteeing the value with respect to the Jaguar and the Benz. And so it became an act or a mission to maintain the value of these vehicles. And we had about 3,000 to 5,000 members back then. And I was commissioned from the Florida lead at that time to do something for Southeast Texas in the Houston area. I'm in Houston, and I did, and that was in '94. And then there were some other support groups that came up. We have Tom Rohner and his group out in San Diego, and Johnny Monzo in Sewell, New Jersey. And then we have Dick Hussey out at Allante Source in Florida. and we have our parts teams, and there's a large group in Chicago, but right now count is down. The issue I see is trying to attract the younger crowd, and it's really a graying community that loves these cars, and basically that happened with the old caddies as well, and that didn't really brighten up for the old caddies until the children of those first owners decided they want or when they grew up, the children of finally grew up into their 60s, they buy these 1945, 50, not 45, but 40s, 50s caddies, for example.
Mm-hmm. John, I got a question. Where can I get one of these today, and what would I expect to pay for one of these?
Oh, the range is all over the place. It really is. I've seen some on auction blocks that they're asking in believe it or not, for low mileage, in the 30s, and down to
$1,500.
Our best offer down at $3,000. So you've got the low cost ones that you're going to find are going to be something's wrong with the engine, or something's wrong with the braking system. Some sensors are out.
But it just so happens that we know somebody that's in a club that can help us get all that fixed.
You.
Well, right. So I mean, and so we compete a bit. I put this in shows a bit, but I mean, I've got 130,000 miles on this.
Oh, wow.
It's been garaged. I retired it in 2005, but I'm an avid Cadillac driver. Those are my commuter cars, but I can't keep this on the freeway with the Houston traffic, tires, roads, smoke, rocks. You don't want that.
What year is it?
It's a 90. This is a 90.
Perfect.
So that's a 4.5 or 4.1?
It's a 4.5.
4.5, okay. And
so and the tranny, all of it's original. It's just been a wonderful vehicle. I've used Mobil 1 synthetic throughout. This particular model, the few model years around this era here, maybe starting in 91, they had a 100,000 mile warranty on it with $25 bumper to bumper. So I was at McGinnis Cadillac, a few times a year, $25. I get a gold car to drive away, not gold, but a DeVille. It was really, they took care of us. That was some of that money that you spent on it was the service that you were going to.
Right.
You paid your service up front, right? And that's with most luxury cars. You pay your service up front.
No, totally agree. One of the greatest lines I ever heard when we were at Hamtramck and we were dealing with some water leak issues, and they brought in a couple of engineers from Pininfarina to talk to the engineering group that was there. And the guy said, it's not, and I can't do it in the Italian accent, but he says, it's not really a water leak if it doesn't get the driver wet. And I'm sitting there going, and this guy was dead serious.
I was told, in Houston, and it's wet here, right, relative to certain parts of Italy, and it used to drip, and I'd get so upset it dripped right on the window switch, for the rolling the windows up and down, and so the fix was silicone grease and in the seams of the convertible top, but we know that all convertibles leak
right,
or let moisture in it, and that's one reason for the hard shell on the back, but it's just not. It's great if you're in the northern latitudes, but down here in the south we like our convertibles all year round.
So John, all your club members over there, where are we going to see all of these club members' cars in one event? When is that coming up?
Well, there was one recently. We have these so these are national events. We went to Nashville. We had 50 or 60 cars in Nashville. I don't know if you can see that. And then they just had one up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then a few years ago we had them. It was inducted actually into the famous Gilmore Museum.
Oh yeah,
if you look that up. I was up there a few years ago in 2018, and here it is. Here, it turned 25 years old. The '93 turned 25 years old in 18, and that's the new Cadillac Museum front window at the Gilmore. And if anyone ever gets a chance to find a Chicago or Grand Rapids or Detroit, you want to go to Kalamazoo, just north of there. That is a wonderful museum. Lincoln, just awesome awesome museum set. The setting is in a cornfield with barns everywhere, and you've got Packards. It's just, anyway.
And they do a lot of car shows up there, invited club shows, because I know the Oldsmobile Club goes there with some regularity.
And I do have to point out how much we appreciate your mechanical slideshow this morning. It works really well.
Awesome.
And we truly appreciate all your effort.
I think there's something dripping from the front. You see that?
Oh, there might be something dripping from the front. No, well, I actually have some pans under it.
Oh, that's what it is.
You always have to have pans, but this is one of the Roadster magazines that come out quarterly or so, put on by Tom Rohner in San Diego. So we have our support teams, and on the back there's the for sale. There's a bunch of stuff for sale. So you can go to Allante.com. There's the Allante Cadillac Allante Club of America. Allante Club of America, Cadillac Allante Club. There's several of them. You can look at them on the web, and wonderful support team from Tom Rohner, Johnny Manzo, and Dick Hussey.
Well, John, I tell you, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you this morning. I had no clue that there would ever be a Cadillac Allante Club, but now
a passionate group of owners.
I know. I'm impressed. So, John, thank you so much for joining us. Let's stay in touch and let us know your next event.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Cool.
It is very cool. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Just shoot us an email. Our address here at the In Wheel Time Car Show is info@inwheeltime.com. We do take complaints, and those go directly to that info@inwheeltime.com, and we all share it amongst each other, and we try to make amends. Not. But I just wanted to bring that up. Okay, time now for some of the stories making automotive news headlines this week.
Karen.
Let's go, Brandon.
By the way, speaking of that, I saw on the internet today where all of these internet companies are going, you're not going to be able to get away with that. We'll zip you off. And
did you hear, what was at the end of Game 5, the after-show interview of the Astros victory?
I didn't. Tell me.
Well, they had, Big Poppy and stuff is there,
right.
and they're screaming the other version of "Let's Go."
Yeah,
and in
behind
the background,
Big Poppy.
Yeah,
that's too funny. Well, I think that they're
think
going to have a
understood
real
it.
problem on national broadcast. Anyway,
I'm not a
we
fan.
got some. We've got some recalls to tell you about today.
Of course.
Infinity's apparently had a problem from 2014 through 2017 at HPCM software. What exactly is HPCM?
I'm not real sure. PCM is powertrain control module.
Okay, it's hybrid power, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Hybrid powertrain control module.
May cause loss of drive power.
Could be happening.
Well, that would be a little problem, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Call the wrecker.
And you'd have thought just your battery ran dead.
QX60 hybrid, Murano hybrid, and Pathfinder hybrid from 2014 through 2017. All of these recalls that I'm going to tell you about, you'll just need to go to safercar.gov, and on there you type in your VIN number, which you'll find on your insurance card, and it will tell you what the recall is, and then it's up to you to get your car into the shop and get it repaired for free.
Yep.
Driver's airbag inflator may explode on the Buick Enclave from 2008 to 2017, along with the Chevy Traverse 2013 through the 2017 model year.
That'd wake you up.
Deactivated front passenger airbag on the Mercedes-Benz S500 and S580 for the 2021 model year. Porsche Taycan, it has a problem, and that is incorrect activation of hazard lights.
That's their fully electric four-door.
It's like, what? 2020 to 2021 model years. Volvo recalling almost 307,000 older models globally for potentially defective driver's side airbags after a ruptured incident reported that it resulted in a death. Recall affects certain V70 and XC70 vehicles from 2001 to 2008 model years. I bring it up because this is certainly an older recall. You getting comfortable over there?
Yeah.
2001 to 2008, that's an older car.
Yeah, exactly. Also, there's a recall out for the S80 sedan 01 to 06 and the S60 sedan from 01 to 09 model years. This was a disturbing story. Did any of you guys watch or get Netflix?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there is a series on called Made, and it's about an abusive relationship. This guy mentally battered his young bride. It's disturbing. And why I continued to watch it, I don't know, because it made me uncomfortable.
Why are we bringing it up?
Well, I bring it up because Lyft.
Don's disturbed.
We knew that.
Because Lyft, the ride share company, received reports of more than 4,000 instances of sexual assault on its ride-hailing platform between 2017 and 2019. Detailing the data in a safety report it had promised to publish about 2 years ago. The company report issued late on Thursday showed sexual assault reports on its platform had increased from around 1,100 in 2017 to some 1,800 in 2019, but it said bookings increased at a higher rate during that time. Well, that'll solve the problem, resulting in a 19% drop in the overall incident rate. Not really. They were basing it on how many rides they gave
between each assault.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
The company said it has invested in safety features, employed rigorous driver background checks, and consulted sexual assault experts. Apparently,
that's creepy.
It is creepy.
That's real creepy.
So that's why I bring up the maid thing, because it deals with all of that. And especially if you have a daughter that uses a hailing service. It's disturbing, and just make sure that she goes with friends and is careful. I have daughters, and that's why I bring that up.
I have a daughter, and this past week, my daughter celebrated her birthday. So happy
How old is she?
birthday. I'm not going to say the young lady's age, because that wouldn't be correct. I know her age. I had to figure it out. I needed a calculator. But happy birthday, Laura.
Happy birthday, Laura. We're probably not going to sing, and you'll be happy for that.
We'll sing to you later.
Yes, and Lord knows what,
after the tequila.
And we don't know
definitely.
exactly what we'll be singing, because we never know stuff like that.
We will
on
see
this
you
show.
at dinner later. That'd be great.
Yeah, at any rate. All right. Well, that's it for this hour of In Wheel Time. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Hour number 2 starts right after this quick break.
Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the most sought-after models in the Houston area today. When you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, you now have a place to go. Bayway will beat any competitor's written price on the new vehicle you choose or pay you $1,000. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is easy to get to on Highway 225 near the Beltway in Pasadena. Whether it's online or in person, you'll be welcomed like one of the family. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly cruise-in, will return Saturday, December 18th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Tailpipes and Tacos wants to thank all of the participants and fans who've enjoyed the collector cars, hot rods, customs, originals, and resto mods, and everything in between. We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving and Autorama, but we'll be back for a great Christmas cruise-in on December 18th, so make plans now. You know that Tailpipes and Tacos is the Houston area's coolest cruise-in, a place you'll see friends, family, and the finest cruise-in cars in the Houston area. It all happens at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise-in, Lupi style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos on December 18th. We'll see you then, weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.
Live from Studio A in Texas, USA, this is the award-winning Car Talk Show In Wheel Time. Coming up, we're going to review our featured vehicle of the week, the all-new 2021 Ford Bronco Sport. We got your weekly cruise-in calendar. Conrad has This Week in Auto History, and we'll have the stories making automotive news headlines this week. It's all just ahead on this hour of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, we need more Jeff Zekin.
We do.
I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us on this Saturday. Thank you so much. It's kind of a pleasant morning here. We're supposed to have storms later on today. Just thought I'd bring that up. 70% chance.
Then you don't have to fly. Oh, I'm sorry. You were flying till midnight last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Staring at the Academy and all the crazy people who couldn't wait till this morning to go buy their T-shirt. They had to buy it last night.
And I have to tell you, it is truly amazing the number of people that were in line at all of these academies that we flew over. I mean, long lines of people waiting to get in. And when they finally opened after the ball game, you know, they would only let a few people in at a time. And apparently they had all of the Astro stuff kind of up front.
In boxes, by size.
And, man, they were running them through there lickety-split.
Yep.
It was really amazing. And there's pretty good merchandise,
People
too. But
would
I was
I
was a little bit taken aback by the $35 baseball caps.
Oh.
And they sold every one
Probably
they had.
so. I'm going, oh, my God.
Flat bills.
Who came up with that word, lickety-split? Where'd that come from?
I don't
Not
know.
really sure.
It's an old term.
But so you flew over all the academies, and there wasn't anybody at the Dick's Sporting Goods, was
No,
there?
nobody.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. No dicks.
Well, the problem with that is they don't sell guns, and this is Texas, and we want our guns. But congratulations, Astros.
And Academy.
Yeah.
And Academy.
And congratulations to Trevor Scott with Ford Motor Company and the new Maverick hybrid. Trevor,
Thank you, gentlemen.
how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Well, very good. Where are we speaking to you from?
I am in the Detroit area.
In the Detroit area.
Oh.
Very nice.
I wish I could say my Tigers were successful as your Astros.
Did you stay up and watch the game last night?
I did. I'm a big baseball fan. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats to Houston. Absolutely. Rooting for you guys.
Well, I think the Lions are doing better than the Texans, so congratulations on that.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I don't know about that.
Well,
we're still winless here in Detroit.
Well, we've got one win. But we don't care. We don't care. Nobody goes to the games anymore.
I was going to say.
I think that they
can't afford to.
What is it? They had maybe at the most a few weeks ago 30,000 people inside
in a 75,000 seats.
Yeah. So, well, enough of that. That's not why we called. That's not why we wanted to rattle the cage up there in Detroit today. We want to find out about the new Maverick. First of all, I don't think a lot of people know what the Maverick is. Why don't you get going here for us and explain everything to us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Maverick it's all new for our 22 model year. Very much a white space product. It's a compact pickup. So picture old generation Ranger, approximately that size. It slots right below our current generation Ranger in our Built Ford Tough lineup. But the beauty of Maverick is it's the full package. It's a standard hybrid powertrain. And the great news this week is based on EPA certification, delivers 42 miles per gallon in the city as our standard powertrain offering. It's built on a unibody design. And the beauty of that is it actually increases the overall interior cabin space, gives you sort of small SUV ride and handling. But then we also have all of the Built Ford Tough capability that you would expect from a towing and payload perspective. So it's kind of the perfect package for the customer that needs a smaller truck, something that they can maneuver around a busy city or even park it in their garage, but still needs that, that towing and payload capability. And that's the beauty of Maverick.
Well, let's go back just a little bit here and let me just give you my 2 cents. And I wasn't real thrilled with the naming of the Mach-E Mustang. But I have to tell you that I noticed that you brought back the Maverick brand, and I like that. That fits.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you guys can imagine, we do quite a bit of testing when we're talking about an all-new nameplate. And certainly for Maverick, we're expecting a younger customer. That's what we've seen thus far. We started shipping our available 2-liter EcoBoost Mavericks to dealers in the middle of September. and we are seeing a younger customer coming in looking at that product. And certainly when we were talking about naming the Maverick, we had that younger customer in mind.
Well, and I have to tell you that, of course, I'm old enough to know about the Maverick history, and I just thought it was brilliant because it kind of fits in with the Mustang, the Bronco, all of that whole horse theme, and it just works.
Equine.
Okay, fine. Great.
It works perfect. Fits in perfect.
I'll leave it to our scholar over here,
really.
Mr. Conrad DeLong, to come up with that term.
He's got a veterinary
So
degree.
what is the planned production numbers? And I think we asked you this last time, and you kind of sidestepped us a little bit. Are you allowed to talk about them now?
Well, like we always say when it comes to production, we build the demand. But what I will tell you, one of the other important announcements that went out this week alongside the EPA fuel labels, which again are 42 miles per gallon in the city, 37 miles combined for that standard hybrid powertrain, is we communicated up front when we revealed Maverick back in June that we were only expecting to build about 40% of our overall hybrids as Maverick, or I should say 40% of our Mavericks as hybrids, apologize. And we are very close to being sold out for the full 22 model year.
Wow.
So one of the things that we want to make sure that, customers that are potentially interested in that standard hybrid is that they're getting into their dealerships today to place their retail order, because we are very near, as soon as potentially this early November, I'm going to be sold out of 22 model year Maverick.
Hey, Trevor, I gotta go ahead and interrupt you here and just say, you need to talk to the boss and say, hey, man, I think we need to build more of those,
Absolutely. But I think the great news, too, is, our available 2-liter EcoBoost engine, great performance, great fuel economy. This is also where customers can get available all-wheel drive, as well as our off-road FX4 package, our 4,000 towing package. That engine is available. It's in dealerships today. So customers can certainly look at that as an available powertrain option as well.
And let me tell you something. I have to agree with you that it is a great powertrain. I'm currently in a Ford Ranger that has the 2-liter EcoBoost in it, and I really do like that motor. It's just a perfect fit for that size, and it's got plenty of horsepower.
Well, and torque, which is surprising because that's what you need in the truck. Is it's got a pulling power to it that really surprises you.
Yeah. So and the hybrid is all that much more better. I mean, I just really think that the way to go these days is the hybrid. So tell me a little bit about the hybrid system in the Maverick.
So our standard hybrid is a 2.5 liter Atkinson cycle. It's mated to a continuous variable transmission. Delivers 191 horsepower combined, 166 pound-feet of torque. So, plenty of performance for that standard powertrain. But again, it's all about the fuel efficiency. It's about the 42 miles per gallon in the city.
Wow.
And obviously, that's why customers are looking at it, is because of that fuel efficiency.
All right.
It is available in a front-wheel drive only, and it's our available 2-liter EcoBoost where you can get the all-wheel drive capability.
So compared to, and I just use the F-150 since it is a half-ton pickup truck, how does it compare as far as, towing, hauling? Obviously it's on a much less scale because it's a crossover type. But I mean, where does it rank in all of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the level of capability is going to be right sized to the size of the truck.
Right.
So Maverick, you're talking about standard towing capability of 2,000 pounds, which again, that's towing a couple of jet skis. And for this size truck, that's kind of the perfect level of towing capability.
Yep, I got that.
You're talking about payload of 1,500 pounds.
That's
so again, plenty of payload and towing capability, even at that standard powertrain offering with our hybrid.
Yeah, and then what they're talking about is it's a stair step. What are your needs? If your needs are something that's fuel efficient and smaller, more compact, because you live in a city community and you're not going to be doing big, heavy towing, then the Maverick's the perfect choice. If you need something bigger, you're going to go to F-150, F-250, F-550. You can fly up the range of what based on what your needs are as an owner. So I have one question to ask, and of course I always ask the ones that you probably won't answer. In the history of Maverick, is there in the plans a grabber version of the new Maverick?
A grabber version coming soon to a dealer near you.
He's smiling. He's got that info. All right.
It's funny because I think you asked me that same question when I was
Yeah, but you didn't answer it last time.
I know, and I can't answer it now either.
Well, that's cool. You know, when we look at the people who have history of what Maverick was,
old people like us.
but that was their performance version.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
And when you look at, there is a performance version of the F-150. There's a performance version of the Ranger,
And a soon-to-be Lightning.
I would assume there'll be a performance version of the Maverick as well. And Grabber would be a perfect name.
I
So
think
when
so
this
too,
does
yeah.
come out, I'm going to think of you.
Ooh, yeah. You mean
great.
since you've already got the hybrid,
Yeah.
I mean, just juice the hybrid a little bit.
Yeah.
You keep your miles per gallon,
And
then you
there's your
hammer
grabber.
it, and there's your grabber.
There's your grabber.
You know?
We figured it out for you.
Yeah.
You see, you pay all those engineers all that money for all
All you
this,
gotta
and
do is
all you
call
have to do
us.
is talk to us.
We'll help you out.
You know, you're going to take this interview back to the bosses and go, look at this right here.
Yeah.
Look what these guys are doing.
I think he's already done.
We
that.
better capitalize
I
on that.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to steal your job. We don't want that. We
No,
just
we
kind
don't wanna
of trying
work.
to help you, just to boost you along a little bit.
This
That's
is all lack of
Hey, I'll
sleep.
take it.
That's all it is.
I'll take it. I love the feedback.
Yeah, I'll bet. It's like, well, these guys just shut up and move on with the program.
So, with the 2022 is now already on the ground at some dealerships, are you having much supply chain issues getting them there?
No. I mean, I think that the beauty of it is for the standard hybrid, we were really just waiting on final state and federal emissions certification testing.
Okay,
And that's what we were able to get was the fuel label certifications this week. And that's the 42 miles per gallon in the city. We anticipate being able to start shipping our hybrid Mavericks to dealers beginning in December. And then ultimately the delivery starting with our customers in January. But as I mentioned, our available 2-liter EcoBoost Maverick started shipping to dealers in the middle of September, and we've seen phenomenal results. A lot of great customer feedback. I think people are just loving the truck.
Well, can I just give you a little background of my association with Ford Motor Company? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
I know I've been very fortunate to have some press vehicles here of late, and they include the Bronco Sport, and now the Ranger. And I have to tell you that Ford seems to have really turned things around and really, I think, are building cars that people want and are up to date on all of the styling and all of the features that are available. And I have to tell you something that I've noticed over the past few vehicles that I've had. Man, they sure do drive nice. Does that make sense to you? Overall, they just drive right. They steer good. They handle well.
Comfortable.
And, yeah, they're comfortable cars. And I just thought I'd throw that in there. I'm not trying to score points with you.
Yeah,
I'm just telling. No, I'm not. But
obviously, I'm biased, so I'm going to agree with you. But no, I mean, I think, and that really is the beauty of Maverick too. As I mentioned, because of its unibody design, it has the capability of a truck, but it rides and handles like a small SUV.
What is
And
it
you get
based
behind
on?
the wheel of it.
What is it based on?
It's based on the same platform that we build our Bronco Sport and our Escape.
Okay, yeah.
So same flexible architecture, same platform,
Proven.
but with the unique top hat from Maverick.
Yeah, it's all proven. So are you guys planning on having a presence of Maverick at SEMA this year?
We will. Yeah, we actually will have a couple of different Mavericks at SEMA this year, and we're excited for the customer feedback there.
And will the grabbers have different color schemes?
I love it. I love the question. I would say stay tuned for SEMA.
Tried to sneak that in.
Just
on
ask
us.
it.
We'll certainly see what the feedback is.
You know,
from
he was schooled by Mike Levine. I can tell.
yeah,
Look at that smile. And he knows Mike Levine. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, and generally SEMA kind of gives you a little bit of a peek into the future of some of the product plans.
Yep.
Might not be a full peek, but just a look under the
little
the
taste.
skirt.
They'll give you a little taste.
A look under
the tablecloth. Let me say.
Well, okay, the new Maverick Hybrid. Now, this is in addition to the standard Maverick. So the standard Maverick also has a 2-liter?
Yeah. So the way to think about it is we have two powertrains for Maverick. We have our standard 2.5 liter hybrid.
2.5.
And that's the powertrain that's going to start shipping out here in December to customers in January. And then we have our available 2-liter EcoBoost gas engine, and that's what started shipping to dealers in September.
Okay. But if they want the hybrid version, you need to go order it now because you're almost out of
production
build availability.
After this program, they're going to start building more. I can tell already.
Yeah, no, I would say definitely, you'll be able to find our 2-liter EcoBoost in dealer stock. So if you're interested, please, visit your local Ford dealerships. They'll have that available for you. But yeah, to your point, if you guys are interested in that 2.5 liter standard hybrid, certainly get into your dealers to place a retail order because we expect to be sold out very soon.
How lucky are you? You get to get on a brand new vehicle, and you're going to be on this for at least a few more months. So it's got to be good news for you.
Oh, I'm going to be on this for a while, so trust me, we're excited about the launch and excited about the excitement around the product.
Well, Trevor, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for taking a ribbing from us this morning, and we really appreciate it. And we appreciate all of your knowledge and information about the new Maverick.
Absolutely. Hey, and go grab some breakfast.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate having me.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, I haven't seen the preview of the Maverick cars at SEMA. We have seen some of the preview of the Bronco cars.
I haven't seen a whole lot of Maverick in general because they're not at the dealership yet.
They're just now dropping at the dealerships.
Exactly.
But, what a great idea of Ford's to bring back the true compact truck. You've talked about it for years, how what were the compacts, the Rangers, not the Blazers, but the Rangers, the Colorados, the Canyons, used to be compacts. Now they're all kind of a mid-sized truck.
Well, did you see what I have out in the driveway right now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I caught my eye when I drove in. I was like, but again,
that's because you hit
it.
You ran into it.
Yeah, it is. But
the Maverick's going to be.
You get into it, and it doesn't feel like a midsize. It feels like the old Ranger. It's small inside. It's compact.
Cool.
Yeah. Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. You didn't ask me about my reunion last week.
How was your reunion last week?
It was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I saw some of the pictures.
Yeah.
Yep.
And sorry that George couldn't make it. And I realized he had some family things he had to do.
Yeah, sure. And it's funny because there were a number of people that I was actually really looking forward to seeing that couldn't make it for one reason or another. And I understand that sort of thing. And but, as I will say this, that there was a list of people that are no longer on the face of this earth with us.
Wow.
And it was 4 pages of people.
Wow.
I was quite surprised at that. But it was great to see everybody that's still standing and walking, talking.
That's great.
Didn't you say it was your 50th class?
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
Oh, well, I was just asking then. That was my impression.
Was it?
Yes.
Can't imagine where you'd get that from.
59th.
Probably picked that up from the Ford guy. We can't discuss that.
If Trevor's still listening, Randy Borcherding from Paint House is with us on Facebook, and I didn't read it until after Trevor got off the air. He's inviting Trevor to come down to the Griot's garage and check out the Ranchero Randy built.
That's right. And John Gray is a big Griot fan over at Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Anyway. Time now for the cruise-in calendar. Before you break open that other drink that you have there.
I know. God.
Let me ask you: is that spiked? I mean, it's pink. I'm thinking some sort of vodka lemonade kind of thing.
Manic melon.
You know what? That looks like
tequila.
That looks like Boone's Farm.
Annie Green? No, it's Annie Green Springs.
Annie Green Springs. I was thinking of Strawberry Hill. Anyway, cruising calendar.
Mad Dog 2020.
November 6th is the Rebel Roundup in Needville, which is usually a very, very good meet. And then December 11th.
Neederville.
No, Needville. No, he's in Nederland.
It's the other direction.
Gotcha.
And then December 11th at Legacy Ford Toys for Tots Car Show at Legacy Ford in Rosenberg. Back to you, Don.
All right, thank you very much. Time now for this hour's car review.
What?
The 2021 Ford Bronco Sport. It's an SUV. It's based on the Ford Escape. There are several trim levels available. They're the Pace, the Base, the Big Bend, the Outer Banks, the Badlands, and the First Edition. Now, Kenny Rogers didn't have anything to do with this because I knew you were thinking about that. I didn't name that.
He beat me to it.
I had the First Edition 4x4. This is a small SUV crossover. It's all new for 2021. Square body style. Kind of reminds me of the Land Rover. What is it? The Defender? Not the Range Rover. No, not the Range Rover. That's too big. This, I think, is the Defender size. It's small. It's compact, but it's got that square body look. It's really nice looking. 5 passengers, all new for 2021. Wraparound grille with integrated headlights in the wraparound grille.
It's cool.
It is.
It is just cool.
Yeah. Blacked out C-pillar, so it makes the whole upper greenhouse area look really cool because you can't really see all of the details of the C-pillars, the B-pillar, all that stuff. Square, flat lift gate. What I liked about it, the overall exterior styling. What could use improvement? Absolutely nothing. I think it's a great-looking vehicle. Interior highlights include compact interior. As I mentioned before, you sit close to your neighbor. Cloth seats with the rotary shifter on the console. Love that. Well laid out dash with high-mounted infotainment screen that's easy to use. The Sync 4 system, I think it's called. Configurable instrument cluster as well. Rubber floor mats. Rubber floor mats. You hearing me?
Yeah.
Not plastic, rubber.
Well, whatever.
Oh,
Or not
Rubber
carpeted.
floor mats. And it's got carpeted floor mats over the top of it. So you pop those out of there. Man, I'm telling you, wipe that off with a sponge and,
It's got rubber Bronco baby bumpers.
Yeah.
Good. I love
In
that.
case you squirt something on there.
Yeah, and clean it right up. Plenty of room in the cargo area with the second row of seats that fold flat. What I liked about it, this thing is ready for camping and for the kids in the back seat.
All right.
This is
Hold that picture. The top comes off like this. That is cool.
No.
Oh, that was just done for photographs
No, it
to show
looks
the
like there's
interior?
some type of mechanism to put the top on.
That is the Bronco. That's not the Bronco Sport.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, okay, let's
Moving on.
moving on.
I wasn't looking. All of these like that?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Oh. So let's not further the Bronco
Era here.
The error here. This is the Bronco Sport. What could use improvement? Nothing.
Why did you do that? Conrad's touching my stuff.
It has a 2-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine. The 3-cylinder engine is standard. Don't get that. Get the 2-liter EcoBoost. 245 horsepower, 275 pound-feet of torque. 8-speed automatic transmission. It got, ready for this, 26.2 miles per gallon over 541 miles. I didn't know that
You
I had
put a lot
driven
of
that.
miles on.
I didn't know that I had driven that far in it, but whatever.
Cool truck.
What I liked about it, the engine and the tranny combination. They work well together with the 8-speed automatic transmission. What could use improvement? I don't know. Not that I know of.
And just our conversation with Trevor, that I'm sure that's the same powertrain that is in the Maverick, which will be just as well matched in the Maverick too.
What I liked about the ride and handling, it rides great. Easy to maneuver too. What could use improvement? Nothing. So here's the pricing. Base trim price on this is $32,660. Price as tested is estimated at $40,000. And you say, well, why can't you tell me what the price is? Because you will see by this, it says right here,
Vehicle not
it's a
for sale.
vehicle not for sale. It's a pre-production model, so they don't have any of that information on this sticker. Notice that it doesn't have any miles per gallon, none of that, because when they made this, then this sticker that goes along with the car, they didn't have that information yet. Because the manufacturers, believe it or not, they don't price these things until they're just getting ready to send them out the door.
And then, again, listening to Trevor he had to wait for the MPG rating before they could start shipping.
So get this. The base model price on this, base model, you can get into this if you order it, because they don't have them usually at the dealership, $24,485.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice. So As far as competitors are concerned, the VW Tiguan starts at $26,920. Jeep Cherokee, $27,210, and the RAV4 is $26,350. Those are the competitors. And that, my friends, is your review of the Bronco Sport, which is not really related to the Bronco itself. You were pointing at something?
Yes, you're in A segment.
And the Bronco Sport is available at the dealerships right now. They have them on the ground.
Yes, it is. Yes. Well, if they have them.
Well, if they have anything.
Because I was going to say that still continues to be a problem with car dealers. They can't get cars. They can get them, and they do get them, but it's not at the level that you would expect. And of course, the chip shortage continues to be a problem, and they're just unable. By the way, I do have a story. But I'm going to just do that story right now. Let's see if I can find that.
Is this the GM?
Yes, the GM story.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of doing this out of order, but I'm going to do it anyway. General Motors is more than halfway through shipping newly assembled pickup trucks that it had parked due to a shortage of semiconductor chips.
Right.
It wasn't immediately clear if the trucks are being shipped with the microchips installed. GM competitor Ford Motor Company has been trying to ship unfinished trucks to dealership lots, even though the chips have not been installed. The global chip shortage has forced automakers like GM to idle production, or in some cases, mostly build vehicles and then park them until the necessary chips can be installed, allowing those vehicles to then be shipped to dealers. To expedite transportation of newly built vehicles to dealers, GM bought a number of car haulers. GM buying car haulers to deliver them from factories to distribution centers. Automakers also allowed dealers to pick the vehicles up themselves in some locations.
Well, yeah, but that's going to be, dealers that are close by to wherever the production facility is.
Correct. But, there are production facilities all over the world, for that matter.
And the good news is that's going to help put some inventory on their lots.
Yes.
Whether it's GM shipping them or them picking them up, because right now you drive past a lot of these dealerships and they are empty of inventory.
Yeah, or you see what they do have in inventory parked sideways, lengthways up there at the freeway.
And then when a truck does show up, 17 salesmen are out there standing around it calling their customer and say, you got to be the first one here.
Hurry, get here quick.
And there's no discounts.
Yep. No, there's no.
There's really the incentives.
Cars up there.
Incentives have all gone away, too. Hey, the In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast source. In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
When you're ready to shop Chevrolet, we know one that should be at the top of your list. Bayway. Locally owned by Houston-born and raised Daryl Wisniewski, Bayway brings a sense of family to your Chevrolet buying experience. When you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, you now have a place to go. And get this, Bayway will beat any competitor's written price on the new vehicle you choose or pay you $1,000. Bayway Chevrolet in Pearland is only 8 minutes from the Beltway and Highway 288. Whether it's online or in person, you'll be welcomed like one of the family. BaywayChevrolet.com. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly cruise-in, will return Saturday, December 18th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Tailpipes and Tacos wants to thank all of the participants and fans who've enjoyed the collector cars, hot rods, customs, originals, and resto mods, and everything in between. We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving and Autorama, but we'll be back for a great Christmas cruise-in on December 18th, so make plans now. You know that Tailpipes and Tacos is the Houston area's coolest cruise-in, a place you'll see friends, family, and the finest cruise-in cars in the Houston area. It all happens at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise-in, Lupi style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos on December 18th. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The in-wheel time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.
Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, this is the In-Wheel Time Car Show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Coming up, this week's events calendar. Conrad has This Week in Auto History, and we'll get you updated on the stories making news this week. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars. And clearly his brain has been out of this world.
Uh-oh. What are you trying to say?
No, his brain was back on the 9th.
Yeah, we left it behind. Apparently.
Yeah.
Well, it's in his behind.
In his mind. What mind? Along with King Conrad DeLong, we need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us here on this Saturday. That so far has been a pretty good Saturday up to this point. So
there we go.
We've reached game 2 of the playoffs.
We're done. We have.
No, we've reached the World Series level.
No. I mean for the show.
Oh, okay.
We're doomed.
Yeah. But at any rate, so what do you want to do, boys?
Well, you talk about recalls because you always have a list of recalls.
Already did those.
So there's always kind of a pre-recall question that's out there as NHTSA starts their investigations. Right now, NHTSA is investigating 131,000 Ram pickup trucks, heavy-duty Ram trucks, that are being called back for a potential fire risk with the diesel engine because the intake heater grid.
Now, was that with the Cummins diesel or is that with their own diesel?
No, with the Cummins diesel.
Okay.
So the intake heater grid is having a problem. Now, people go, oh, what's an intake heater grid? Literally, it's a wire mesh that heats the air, turns red, and heats the air as it goes into the engine.
So it's kind of like one of those things that you have at the office that you heat your buns in.
Right. Yeah, like a toaster oven.
Yeah,
toaster oven.
Yeah.
But, what's the purpose of it is to heat the air charge going into the engine so that the fuel atomizes better. So what they've done is they've added this heater grid and eliminated glow plugs. So there's a reason for the heater grid, and in doing that, they took the glow plugs out of the diesel. Glow plugs it's an expensive system because it runs at a much higher voltage than the vehicle does, so you have to have some amplifiers in the truck to do that. And taking glow plugs out of a diesel is always a nightmare because you're always stripping them out.
Isn't it like an antiquated system now?
Glow plugs, there was a time where they were important, and some diesels still run glow plugs. But
wait a minute, didn't I have glow plugs on my little model airplane?
Yes.
The little Cox engine that ran on castor oil.
Uh-huh. The same thing.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So you attach the thing, the
little
probe
clip
up there at the top of the cylinder
to heat it up.
Yeah.
And once it heated up, it basically operated like a diesel.
So same thing.
Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. And then NHTSA is also looking into some stalling issues on a whole bunch of Ram heavy-duty trucks as well with the diesel in them. So they're struggling with delivering the diesel at a quality level without having some issues, and I think that's hopefully that's not going to hurt them, but always can. Toyota introduced their new Tundra, and you talked about that last week with the twin turbo V6.
Haven't driven that yet. I'm looking forward to it. It looks really good.
I'm excited because it's a very good looking truck, and that's a heck of a powertrain.
Well, it's about time. What is it, like 13 years old?
They updated it.
My son's got a Tundra. I like the truck. He loves it.
I wasn't a big fan. Well, I was originally, but 13 years later, it was time to move on with that thing.
Yeah. So they're also going to offer what I'll call an Uber level luxury of the Tundra called the Capstone, which is a new level of luxury at Toyota on the Tundra.
They need to.
Where do they come up with these names?
I don't know. Usually it's some marketing firm that comes up with the names, and then they do all of this testing and see how it resonates with people out there. And you're going, really?
Must be a lot of drinking involved.
Apparently.
Yeah, we could be a marketing
They
firm.
could get together a bunch of drunks, and they don't even know that they're drunks. Get them all together and go, what do you think of that? Oh, that's great. We had a lot of that.
Give me another round over here.
They could start. They
Call
could,
it the capstone.
Yeah. Call it the capstone.
They could
It's a
start
great name for a bar.
Well, and then let's look at, GMC truck has had the Denali has always been their Uber level, while they're going to step one up above the Denali, which doesn't make sense to me.
They all need to step up because Ram kicks everybody's butt when it comes to the actual
Interior
luxury.
quality.
Yes,
by
the
far.
interior, hands down.
So GMC is going to come out with an upper level Denali called the Ultimate, and that's in the 1500 trucks, and that's going to start at $80,000 and go up from there.
That's a $100,000 truck.
Absolutely.
The Denali Ultimate.
It starts at 80.
And you got to remember, Denali has become a separate sub-brand
Agreed.
within GMC.
And when everybody at Dodge went, you're going to take away the Ram pickup truck from Dodge and give it its own name, everybody going, what? Well, look how that's worked out pretty well.
Very, very well.
Yeah.
Very, very well.
All
So, hopefully they're going to both upgrade the Toyota and GMC, upgrade their interiors, because that's where Ram just stomps them into the ground.
we got him, Mike.
Got him.
All right. Well, let's go to our interview, shall we? His name is Max Callis. Max, how are you?
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Where are
How
we?
about you?
Well, we're doing very well, thank you. Where are we speaking to you from?
We're in McAllen, Texas, right now in our home.
Yes? Very nice. Well, I think that the last time I saw you was at Houston Motorsports Park, was it not?
Yeah. Last time was last race, I think, right? Or something.
Yes, exactly. And great. What vehicle do you drive in competition at Houston Motorsports Park?
We race in Houston Pro Modified.
Pro Modified, yeah. And let me tell you something. Those modified drivers in those cars, dude, that is some wild stuff on a Saturday night.
I think they're nuts.
They are. Well,
I think you're nuts, man. You're crazy.
He kind of has that nuts look.
I mean, he's smiling.
He's smiling.
He likes
he likes the kudos.
Yeah.
You like the compliment because that's what it is.
Thank you. Yeah, well, yeah. It's a lot of fun, definitely. I mean, those cars are very fast and they have high horsepower, and on that small short track, it's very fun to race against.
Yeah.
Got a little pushing around going there while you're racing.
Listen, these guys are so serious. I saw, this was not this past year, but the year before, a couple of drivers got into it, and they were ugly with one another. Mm-hmm. And the passion seems to go throughout the field in that particular class. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because that there's not as many of those as there are, like, for instance, the pro trucks that they race out there. But there is a certain angst, some sort of a thing.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, whatever that is. But don't you agree with me, Max, that I mean, there's a certain passion that you guys have that I think is kind of unique to the modifieds, don't you?
Yes, for sure. I think it's mostly because these kind of cars, as you've seen it, they are open wheel, so it's not the same to race these kind of cars comparing to the pro trucks that actually have fenders.
Yeah.
So you can play around a little bit more against each other. And on these cars, you have to have so much respect for the other, because if you do a wrong move, I mean, it can be ugly, as you can see.
Yes. And is your class pretty much the fastest on the track at this point?
Yes, I think so. I think we're the fastest, and the Outlaws too. Sometimes they're kind of the same, but most of the races, yes, we're the fastest guys. We're around half a second faster than a pro truck on a 15-second lap racetrack. So it's a
15-second lap.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
And what kind of powertrain do you run?
I run a Ford engine, a 347. Well, it's a 302 stroked to a 347, and it's sealed actually. So it's what we call a crate motor, and then we have the other option that is the open engine that you can put pretty much wherever you want. You have to raise 100 pounds heavier, but you can have 200 horsepower more. But I think on this, at least on this racetrack, for me, it has worked out more the smaller engine because you spin the tires less, so you can run faster on average on a long run.
Yeah, with lesser horsepower in the track size. Yeah, absolutely.
And how long will an engine last as far as the season goes? Will an engine go the whole season for you?
Yes. Well, if you get lucky, you can definitely run an engine for around 2,000 to 2,500 laps. So it's a lot of laps.
Oh, yeah.
But you definitely have to take care of them. We mostly refresh ours every season, so we run them for a season and then just refreshed it. And for a season, we don't run as much. I think I'll run maybe 1,200 laps or 1,500 laps. So I think we can get more out of it, but it's on the risky side. So
when you refresh a sealed engine, do you have to send it out to a specific rebuilder, or are you allowed to do that at home?
No, you have to send it to a certified sealed builder, so they can do all the work and reseal it, and it has a serial number. So
and you can't cheat.
Yeah.
No, definitely can't.
Well, you said you run 1,200 to 1,500 laps a season. How many actual races is that?
Well, you're looking around 10 races, something like that.
Okay.
Around 10, 12 sometimes. It, like for a weekend, you race you run the car around 100 to 150 laps, depending on the length of the racetrack,
and practice and everything. Yeah,
exactly. It's mostly on the practice where you wear out your stuff the most, because the races are not that long actually, but you practice a lot, and that's where you actually wear out your cars.
Car setup and stuff. Yeah, good information.
So you, I guess, did you cut your teeth down in Mexico racing? Did you not?
Yes. I'm born in Mexico, and I moved here around 11 years ago. So I started racing over there when I was 7 or 8 in go-karts, in road course go-karts. And then we move up to the ranks to the smaller Formula cars, and then some touring cars, everything on road course. And then the last 2 years I raced in the NASCAR Mexico series over there in Mexico. That's pretty much the biggest racing series that we have over there. And I moved here when I was 15 to US. I'm 25, so I started racing here on dirt when I came here, and I didn't race asphalt for a long time. Actually, I stopped racing asphalt for like 5 years or so, but I raced a lot of dirt here on South Texas, and we started racing asphalt around 3-4 years ago, I think, and it's been good. I mean, it's been a fun ride for sure.
So when you say you raced in Mexico, is this with you have family, brother, sister, your parents supported you, or is this with a team? How did you get from the dirt in Mexico to racing in the U.S. with a team, or is this family?
Well, in Mexico, I mean, obviously, when you start racing, your family has to support you, right? I mean, to start with, and my family supported me when I was a kid on the go-karts, so they supported me for around, I don't know, 4 years, something like that. And then when I moved up to the Formula cars and the NASCAR stuff in Mexico, we had a lot of help, like sponsors and stuff. So my family didn't have to like help me out at some point, you know.
Sure.
So
Right.
That's how I did over there, and I did super good on the last years. And then when I moved here, I had to start all over again. So yeah, I mean, when I moved here, when we started on dirt, my family supported me again to get back on racing, and it was the same story, but now in the U.S. You know,
Max,
I mean,
is there? Pardon me for interrupting, but is there a large difference between the cars that race in Mexico and the ones that race here?
Well, depending on what kind of racing you're talking about, because if it's oval racing, well, yes, I mean, the NASCAR Mexico cars, that is pretty much the only thing that we have that race on ovals in Mexico. It's kind of like a late model stock.
Yes.
For here, for like the ones that race in North Carolina and stuff. It's more like a stock car, but like it has around 500 horsepower. I mean, they are fast. I mean, but when you talk about road course cars, we have a lot of different stuff over there, because that's pretty much like what we have the most road course series, like formula cars, touring cars, and endurance and all that. So we do have in Mexico a Formula 4 series, Formula Renault, and the Super Cup Mercedes-Benz. That is like some touring cars, kind of like the Trans Am series over here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Are you still racing in Mexico in these other series?
No. I just race here now. I mean, I haven't raced in Mexico in some years now.
Okay. All right.
I race the most here, but that's where I come from. And like I said, when I came here, I raced there for like 4 or 5 years, and then I started on asphalt again. Actually, in Houston, that's when I got back on asphalt on a pro truck, like I said, like 3 or 4 years ago, something like that.
How did this season? I know the season was rather short. There weren't that many races. A couple of them rained out, and various and sundry things really kind of cut the season short. How do you think that you did overall with your season here at Houston Motorsports Park and over in Mobile too?
Well, it was definitely a very good season. Like you said, I mean, it was short, so we didn't have a lot of opportunities to race here. But actually this season I only raced twice here. The first race and this last one, and I finished second on both. The first one, I got on a racing deal, and I got spun out, and I started on the back, and I went up to second, and we finished second. And then, like I said, on the middle of the season, I didn't race because I got injured in Mobile on a modified, actually. So I broke my arm. I hurt my elbow, so I stopped racing for like two months.
So you were the driver that had the drive shaft break on the car.
That's me. Yes.
That was a scary deal. I went over there and helped Rodney call that race, and we noticed that the car just kind of stopped on the backstretch. And everybody was running over there going, something's going on here that's just not right, because it wasn't right. And they were going to push the car, and the race director says, no, don't push the car. Let's get the driver and find out what's going on. And as it turns out, he injured his arm because the drive shaft came up through the floor. Well, It was in the hoop, but it injured him. Am I correct?
Well, it broke everything and went through the through the car,
through the floorboard. Yeah. That's scary stuff, because here you got a drive shaft flopping around underneath you and coming through
and throwing stuff, your shrapnel your way.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you push it, it's going to be.
Well, how are your injuries now? Are you healed up?
Yes. I mean, I think I'm good. I mean, sometimes it hurts a little bit when I do a lot of work, but no, I mean, it's good. I mean, it could be much worse than what it was. Yeah. I think that got very lucky, because the way it hit my arm, it didn't really damage it as much as it could.
Yes.
So
exactly.
I think that we got lucky, and I mean, we got back to racing, like I said, like 2 months after that, and went to Mobile to race Pro Late Model, and we finished second on that one.
Very nice. Very nice.
It hurt a little bit. Honestly, I think I wasn't ready for that one, but
yeah, 2 months is a little short turnaround time. So, what are you looking forward to for next year?
Well, obviously the season in Houston and in Mobile, even myself as a driver and our development team. So I think that we are on a good direction, and hopefully next year we can get some wins. And I think we'll race some late models like we always do, like the super late model at Speed Weeks in Florida at the beginning of the year, and just hit some of the bigger races that they have out of state. And like I said, just race as much as we can.
Well, good. Well, we look forward to seeing your progress, and hopefully you'll win the championship next year, and we wish you the best of luck. It's great talking to you. Great getting caught up. Thank you for all the information, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much. And like I said, thank you for the opportunity. I'm very happy to be here, and I hope to talk to you soon. And like I said, we'll still be working hard to get good results. And I just want to thank everybody that makes this possible. Advanced Auto Parts for all the work that they do with Gina Child Knows to get the racetrack going and everything. I mean, I think that next year will be definitely better than this one.
Well, we look forward to seeing you perform next year. All right, thanks, Max Callis. Great to talk to you again.
Thanks.
All right, time now for This Week in Auto History. And Conrad always has that. I hope that all of the slides are in order.
Who knows? We'll find out.
I guess we're going to find
too.
Yeah, all right.
So,
what we got?
Well, with Jeffrey, we always have to have a Cadillac story.
You darn betcha.
In 1902, the first Cadillac was completed and given its maiden test drive this week.
I like that word.
And there it is.
That's fine-looking steel.
Isn't it? I like the wicker basket on the side of it. I haven't figured out what that wicker basket's for.
Do you know on a door seal where it says Fisher Body that looks like that? That's the actual coach, a Fisher Body.
And they probably have fish in that thing. They can take home and cook.
That's what they do.
Also, in 1919, Rolls-Royce America was established, and their luxurious motor cars proved to be quite a favorite means of transportation for the American elite. That is a Rolls-Royce that was built in the Boston area.
Oh, wow.
And Rolls-Royce had production in the Boston area for quite some time.
Pardon me, would you pass the grape upon?
Well, no, in Boston it would be, hey, you got any beans?
Hey, forget about it.
Yeah.
Hey, a car park.
What a lobster's
the Astros just beat us.
Hey, I know a guy that knows a guy.
Also, in 1920, Harley-Davidson registered Harley-Davidson trademark that was first used in 1906 on the motorcycles, but in 1920 they finally registered the trademark of Harley-Davidson. See, even back then it was a V-twin.
Oh, man, but that is an ugly color.
Well, back then it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that's a $100,000 bike.
I'm sorry. Well, not today. All right, let's move on.
And then in 1951,
look at that thing.
As Hudson launched its new mono-built body. So Hudsons were what today we call unibody, but they were the first to market with this as a unibody. So they had a subframe in the front and a subframe in the rear and a unibody.
Can I tell you my Hudson story?
Please.
Okay, just pause it right there.
Pause.
So
we are men of pause.
That's good. I like that. So back in the day, I have to tell you that little girl lived around the corner from me, Lori Brown.
Was she at the 50th?
No, she was not. No, and it's not the 50th. So you just shut up and let me read my story. Once again, you're interrupting. She lived around the corner, and we both went to the same grade school. And when the weather was bad, we kind of carpooled. So I would walk around the corner where she lived, and
come off. Hello.
Can I tell my story now?
Absolutely.
you carpooled and you came around the corner.
Yes, and her mother had a Hudson Hornet.
Oh, cool.
I was so embarrassed to ride in that car. That was, in my mind, back then, and I was in grade school, 6, 7 years old. I thought that was probably the ugliest car I had ever seen in my entire life. I remembered it to this
car
day.
reviews when he was a kid.
Inline 6.
God, it was so ugly,
and it was a
though.
NASCAR champion year after
Sir,
year.
it was just this round, bug-looking thing that was ugly. Anyway, go ahead.
So
that's the end of the story.
They released the unibody design, and they called it the step-down design because with the unibody, you didn't have to step up over the frame, so the cars were much lower to the ground than traditional cars back in the day.
So it was the stepchild of the brand.
And then in 1958, Chevrolet introduced the El Camino.
Yay.
And the El Camino was kind of a sedan pickup truck thing.
That's cool.
And I loved them.
That's cool.
Now, that version of the El Camino, they only built for 2 years, 59 and 60.
Thank God.
And that was based off of the Bel Air. I believe it was the Bel Air body. It might have been Impala, but I think it was the Bel Air body. And then the El Camino went away and then was reintroduced in 1964 off of the Chevelle platform. In 1970, at the Bonneville Salt Flats, American Gary Gabelich attained 361 miles an hour average speed in the Blue Flame, which was just a solid rocket fuel rocket and wheels attached to it and just point and hold on tight.
Gabelich, that's one of your people, isn't it?
Gabelich?
No, it'd be Gabelichski if it was one of his.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In 1973, the Arab oil embargo started in October, and the gas shortage.
Oh yes.
If you remember back then,
Very well.
You could only buy so much gas, and then you had to have an even number plate on one day and an odd number plate on the other day, and. My dad had me switching plates between the 3 cars we had so he could just get gas anywhere he wanted.
But that applies to today.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Close to it.
We're headed that way.
Let's go, Brandon.
And
you have
then,
a minute and a half to finish this.
Oh, I'll
Hurry.
be finished. You took up some of my time.
I did.
Thank you. And in 1973,
I'm about to take up some more time.
In 1973, 5 days after the Arab oil embargo started, Toyota was holding their international news conference talking about fuel-efficient automobiles. So I thought the timing of that was probably good. It might have been a little better than we thought because there may have been a little collusion there with their low or high fuel mileage cars in the Arab oil embargo. But at the time, you got to remember, the big 3 really weren't selling fuel-efficient cars. Ford Pinto, Chevy Vega.
Nobody bought those things.
Right. So those were their most fuel-efficient cars. And that was this week in auto history.
Wait a minute. I didn't tell you to go short.
Well, that's okay because we keep coming up with this thing on your class reunion, and I've been kind of wanting to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to.
What?
Dun,
Did you say something? See, I have the pleasure of controlling all of the audio over here, so I can just cut them right off.
The mix master.
So when the audio goes wacky, it's always Don's fault.
It's always when anything goes wacky, it's always
wacky.
Don's
Wow,
fault.
that's Mars's fault.
What is the question again?
I'm going to my 50th class reunion tonight, and I'm kind of wondering, since you're so much older than me, how you were going to your 50th is where I was getting. I couldn't make the math add up.
Well, because you got to remember, with Don, the 4th grade was the hardest 7 years of his life.
Oh, okay. Now I got it. Now.
You got it now?
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay. Now, if you'd like to be graded on all of this, please, next weekend we'll be more than happy to grade you on your performance.
And George Skelton says Lori currently lives in Boston with her oldest son, Hudson.
Oh, God. All right. That's it for this hour of the In Real Time Car Show. We'll be right back after these brief messages from your local sponsor.
Whether you own a newer car or want to keep your older one humming along for a while longer, think of Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln to keep things in tip-top shape. From oil changes to major repairs, you can depend on the highly skilled service pros at Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevrolet, and Bayway Lincoln to perform fast, efficient service to keep your investment running strong. For all your service needs, remember Bayway.
Schedule your next appointment online anytime. Bayway, keeping it original. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly cruise-in, will return Saturday, December 18th to the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Tailpipes and Tacos wants to thank all of the participants and fans who've enjoyed the collector cars, hot rods, customs, originals, and resto mods, and everything in between. We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving and Autorama, but we'll be back for a great Christmas cruise-in on December 18th, so make plans now. You know that Tailpipes and Tacos is the Houston area's coolest cruise-in, a place you'll see friends, family, and the finest cruise-in cars in the Houston area. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise-in, Loopy style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos on December 18th. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.
Acknowledging 10 years of award-winning car talk. It's the In-Wheel Time Car Show. I'm done with celebrating.
50-year high school reunions.
We're not celebrating anymore. We're just acknowledging. Coming up, we got the Emmons brothers to talk to about the used car market and drag racing. We need more. Jeff is going to review a 2016 Dodge Dart.
The demise of the Dart.
Conrad has the racing calendar, and the car clinic will also have the stories making automotive news headlines if all goes well this hour on the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Howdy. Along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong.
We need more Jeff.
We need more Jeff Zeke.
Look at that. I just threw a slider, curveball, fastball in there.
You wish.
Yeah.
I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. This is our live show, and we also have podcasts. So we take this live show, the 3-hour live show, we bust it all up, and then we send it down the line in podcasts each day of the week, Sunday through Friday.
And then we're live on Saturday.
I would use the word bust up. I would have it selective cuts.
Selective cuts.
Selective cuts.
Like
Half-hour podcasts. It's a great
It's
way
kind of
to
like going to the butcher.
Yes.
The select cuts.
I'll have that one there.
Okay. Well, are we ready over there, Mr. Morris?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
that's awesome.
So I don't know what kind of surprise we're going to get
You're
here,
about
but
to see.
ladies and gentlemen, down to Emmons,
Autoplex.
down in Friendswood, Texas. It's the Emmons brothers, but there's only one right now.
I know. I thought there was two there a minute ago.
No, there's two Wallies
There's
sitting
two
there.
Wallies.
Hey guys, how y'all doing this morning?
Good.
Well, obviously we've had something to drink or something's wrong over here because our mind is just a little wasted this morning. We stayed up too late is the really bottom line. Did
Watching
you?
the Astros.
Did you stay up too?
No, I was doing some racing practice. I didn't stay up to watch the game like probably everyone else did. But,
And what were you practicing?
well, I have a Christmas tree simulator that I make sure I practice on every night, on every evening. So I try to do a certain, like I try to run between 100 to 200 practice runs, and then I'll stop, and then I'll come back to it in about another 30 minutes, and I'll try to do another set.
And how do you do? When you do it that way, do you find yourself that you actually improve as you go along for the evening?
Well, it's actually interesting to let you know, and that's a great question. So on this device that I have, I don't know if you guys can see this.
Yeah.
It's the Porta Tree Eliminator.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of cool features. It has a distraction mode. It has you can play it for as long as you want, and it'll tell your average, what your average reaction time is. It will tell you what your spread is. So let's say I'm going to practice, I don't know, let's just say 10 for a number. So if I accidentally red light, so let's say I'm going to be 5,000ths red, and then I'm green, and my worst green is going to be, let's say 40. So it'll tell me what my spread is. So for me to practice and to try to get my game, I need to tighten that window as much as I can.
Yeah.
So I like to see a spread of no more than 15 thousandths. When you do 100 hits, that's almost impossible. Generally, when I try to do 10 at a time, then I'll take a step back and I'll do 10 again. Within 10 runs, because that'll factor 7 rounds of realistic 7 rounds of final eliminations, and then you generally get 3 qualifying runs prior to your eliminations, right? So that's 10. So generally, I can get that spread to about 25. I'm still trying to tighten that window a little bit, but there's a lot of good features. So that's what I do. But I don't just look at the simulator and then I'll release when the lights come down, press it again, release when the lights come down. I'll try to let a little bit of time go by. That's why it takes so long to do it. But I'll,
just kind of reset your mind.
Press the button, yeah, right, and then I'll let go. Then I'll kind of set the button down, wait a second, pick it back up. Because if you just hit it back, back and back and back, you're not really doing yourself any good. You need to, get it as realistic as you can, where you're not just having free throw shots.
Now,
all
Jerry,
like a
I have
slot
to
machine.
ask
Bam,
you,
bam, bam.
Jerry, do you actually sit in a room by yourself and do this?
Yes, I do. So, but what I've changed this last week, what I've done, I actually have 2 young kids. I have a 4-year-old girl and and almost a 2-year-old young boy, and my wife that likes to be chatty Cathy.
So that's the distraction mode.
Is that the distraction mode button?
You got it, yeah. And I turn on the distraction mode in the machine. So actually, because, and I'll give you a great example of why that I started doing that this week. I had to run my brother Gary at a race a few races back. And he has the white, in the class that we ran each other, I run my 69 Camaro with a big block Chevrolet, right? So it's generally dialed in around the 1030 mark, 1020, 1030. Well, Gary's in the Cobra Jet, it's a supercharged Coyote engine, and he's generally dialed in the 8.8 second range. Well, coincidentally, when we run and I'm watching my tree come down, well, he goes on the 2-step, and when he decks it, that thing sounds like it's a time bomb about to explode, like a what, before he takes off. So when at a rate, I beat him, but just by luck, I was staring at the Christmas tree from my spot to leave. And when I went to go down, I mean, he engaged his 2-step, which kind of made me like, what? I mean, when I left the starting line, I was trying, because when I leave the starting line, I'm trying to kind of estimate what kind of light that I felt like that I had, because, the part about being a better racer is you got to be able to kind of call the light when you leave the start line. So you kind of figure out how the race is going to play out. And he had me all
flustered listening to the 2-step.
Confused. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I was still trying to gather my thoughts as I was trying to put it in high gear. So that's the long story of why I try to do as much as distraction as I can. And it's really helped, because I've been doing this distraction setup for the last week, and my range, again, my spread that we talk about, has shortened down tremendously, but that's what I'm working on.
So when you're doing the practice digitally with your device, how does that truly relate to the car? Because is there not any, when you let go of the button,
he's got a pedal, I assume.
But
yes, I have a pedal and the button. I go back and forth because I have my Superstock car is off the trans brake button.
Okay.
So that's the same thing, but I tend to use the button a little bit more. I found it to be very realistic. I don't have any problem going from the button, slide into my race car, and going off the pedal. I don't have any issue with that.
But is there no delay in the car?
A great question. Now, so how it's designed to set up is that I'll grab this device. Let me see if I can show this to you. So you have these 3 lights right here, right?
Yeah.
So what I'll do, I'll put it on a 5/10 because it takes 5/10 of a second,
Right.
and the kind of racing I do for each amber to come on and go count down. So I'll put this on a Pro Tree start. So like our great friend Erica Enders, right? She runs Pro Stock.
410.
Well, they have a tree where all the yellow lights light up and then it goes to green. But the difference with Pro Stock is that it's on a 4/10 tree, right? So I'll make it a 5/10 Pro Tree, and I'll hold the button and I'll stare at the yellows. And once all the yellows light up, I'll release. So the idea is to be, for me, I like to be between 005 and let's say 10 on the green side.
Wouldn't
So
everybody?
once I can adjust that delay, because when there's 0 delay, you're going to be red every time. Right? It makes sense. So you get it to where you can be between 005 and 10 or 15 with green, and then you take out the Pro Tree, and all you do, you just set it on a standard Sportsman tree where they count down. So the theory is you're going to leave off the flash of the yellow. The only thing different between that 5/10 Pro Tree where all these light up and the 5/10 amber tree is that you're going to have anticipation. That's what makes our racing a little hard. Some guys use blinders in their car where they block out the top 2, which is what I used to do. I don't do that anymore. But you basically are trying to react off the flash of the last yellow, and you do that by setting the rollout, doing a 5/10 Pro Tree where all of them come on. Then once you get your rollout set where you're between 5 and 10, then you make it where all the lights come down, and you should. That's technically how you do it.
I'll bet you do really good in Las Vegas and shooting dice, don't you? Because that's kind of like what it is.
No, he doesn't have to do that. He's in the used car.
This is the truth. I've been to Vegas the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. I've never put a coin in a slot machine. Don't even walk by the table.
I hear you.
He gambles in the used car business. He doesn't have to go to Vegas.
That's a gamble in itself.
So who were we talking to the last time that said you guys still have, I guess it's Speedy still has an opportunity for the World Championship because he has a national event.
Stan.
No, it was Stan that
yeah.
he still had, or Sheila, that you still have a national event opportunity ahead of him for his
national championship.
His national championship.
Well, that's actually me. I'm Jerry, so I'm the one that's actually in that position.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
This is Conrad. That's Mike.
It's the
Jeff.
Emmons brothers.
That's right.
So you still have a national event to score. To help
That's
you
correct.
win
So when we go out, we're going to leave Monday to go to Las Vegas for the national event. The weekend after is going to be the Las Vegas divisional event, and the weekend after that will be the Pomona national event. So for me, I'm 8 points behind a gentleman by the name of Joe Santangelo out of Connecticut. Very good racer, past world champion, tough person. And there's also a couple of guys behind us, but I don't want to say they have to do something extraordinary, but they're going to have to win something and then go deep at the next 2 events to be able to get close. But that's not to say they can't do it. They're just as good and highly trained drivers as well. But for me, when I show up at the Vegas National, I'm working on a second round loss. So if I can win second round, then I go in front of Joe Santangelo. Now he's going to be there. But his national event score is so good. So I have 3 races left to improve. He only has 2. His score, he has to be in the final at one national event, and he only has 1 left. So I don't know if that's going to be Vegas or if that will be Pomona. I would assume he's going to make it Vegas since he's already there for the both. So he has to make it to the final before he improves. So obviously, I'm going in there with a win-out mindset, right? If I can just get to the final, I'm going to win. And that's my plan. If I can win, it's over and I don't have to worry about it. But if I fumble the ball and I only go, let's say to the 3rd or 4th round, well then sure, I'll pass him by a point, by a round and a half. But when the divisional race shows up the next weekend, all he has to do is win the 3rd round and then boom, he starts collecting points again. So for me, it's better if I do great at a national, because my divisional score is pretty well. I have to win the 4th round at a divisional, I believe, to improve my score. He just has to win the 3rd. But at a national, he has to go to the final, whereas I just have to win the 2nd round.
Okay. So
if that makes sense.
I think we've got can you hang with us for a few minutes? I think we've got a break coming up.
Yeah.
Don't go away.
All right. Hang with us, and we'll be right back after this quick break here on the In Wheel Time Car Show.
Garages of Texas offers first-class luxury garage suites to keep your collection in a safe, secure location with 24-hour access. You'll love your own private space that's developed with other like-minded enthusiasts in 2 Houston area locations, in Katy and the Woodlands. Visit garagesoftexas.com to see how other enthusiasts have designed their motor vehicle man cave. But you need to act fast. These properties are almost sold out. Visit garagesoftexas.com for full details.
Welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Show. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday, talking to Jerry Emmons Motors, about drag racing and
his pending national championship.
Yes.
And that.
How cool would it be to have him bring that back here?
I know.
To Houston.
I know. Very cool. So the pressure's on you to
Yeah.
It's all,
no pressure.
Yeah, just what he wants to hear from us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my nights have definitely. I don't sleep much anyway, but my nights have definitely went from like 5 hours of sleep to probably 3. But
Yeah.
hopefully, when we get to the track, you're in the atmosphere of it. And I just don't want to come this far just to come this far. I want to close it out. My older brother Harvey, or Speedy, who you were referring to earlier, he won the world championship in 1994, and it was. I mean, for us, it's either car business or drag racing, and this is what we do.
The life you live.
We want to talk about the car business, and so let's switch gears and talk about that. By the way, I want to remind everybody that this segment of In Wheel Time is sponsored by Garages of Texas Luxury Garage Suites. Put a roof over your ride. Talking to Jerry Emmons at Emmons Motors down there in Friendswood, Texas, and I want to ask you about the used car business, because if anybody has a handle on it, it's you guys down there. I know that you guys move a lot of cars down there. As a matter of fact, our chief engineer, David Ainsley, bought one of your used cars, and the darn thing was it was not the Sienna, the Honda Odyssey van,
right?
But it was like a 2000 or something like that. But it only had 35,000 miles on it. I saw this thing.
It's pristine.
Yeah, it looked like it just walked off the showroom floor, and I'm going, wow, man, they've got these kind of cars down there.
Absolutely.
So how is inventory? How is the business?
Business is really good. Inventory for us is actually okay. We still have plenty cars in stock. We're still buying more and more every day. I think we're not. I don't want to come off arrogant or anything, because we're not those kind of people. But we're not. Before, we were kind of trying to wait out the market, see what was going to change. But I think we're all in. We're buying at market prices, and because that's. I mean, if you don't, you're going to get left behind. So we have plenty of inventory. We're going to keep buying at the auction, but we get an education every day. I want to share something with you. So there was a 2013 van. It was a F-250. I'm sorry. It was a van, E350, E250 cargo van, 2012, 2013 with like 8,000 miles. So retailing this thing, and retail isn't accurate because there's not a lot of low mileage cars. So you just kind of have to figure that in. Retail showed to be 15,000, 16,000. And, so that truck would it's a $25,000 retailable unit. Wow. And it sold for $29,800 at the auction.
Holy cow.
$29,800.
Well, I had a story here just a couple of weeks ago that used car prices, retail, are up like 30 some odd % over what they were a year or two ago. I mean,
actually, for us, we actually had a dip in sales probably about 2 months ago, and we were, price cutting and making sure everything was priced accordingly before it went online. Some stuff we were losing money just to get it online, but hopefully would catch a trade or get some back end on it. And then I'm telling you, in a matter of 2 weeks, it's like a light switch went off. And you're right, the market is higher than what it ever has been. It really is.
But you're not finding any difficulty in finding inventory. I know you say you go to auctions. Is there a couple of favorite auctions you guys prefer, or do you just play the online and go everywhere you can?
Well, we just go everywhere we can. I predominantly take care of the West Coast and some of I say East Coast, but like Florida, I'll buy some out of there. A couple of my brothers buy here in Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and things like that. We get some out of Louisiana. But no, to answer your question, we're not having trouble finding the inventory. I think it was mental, right? For us, are you going to pay what the market dictates? And we are.
Well, yeah, because it's because you have to be able to sell it at a profit level, and as the market's moving, that's what you got. The world you live in is trying to find the margin ups and downs to make
sweet
that's
spot.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's kind of like the stock market, right? I mean, stocks go up, stocks go down. To me, that's what the car business is.
So what are the main years of cars that you try to keep in inventory, and what sells?
The best seller is between the 2000 and let's say 2008 to 10 to like 2015. Obviously, with short miles, that always works good. But 25,000 and less is the car we like to buy because that's what everybody buys.
Well, and you always have, because I drive by there often enough and every now and then stop in, but you guys always have such a great collection of Jeeps and trucks.
All on the front line.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. I mean, somebody's looking for one of those, you guys have a place to stop and have a choice of what to buy, as opposed to, you go someplace and they have one Jeep and 3 trucks.
Right. And thank you for the compliment. And we try to. We're actually low on Jeeps right now, and this is fall weather, right? Houston, Texas, you need a Jeep. The top can come off, and everybody can enjoy the holidays. We're a little low on that, so we're trying to. We have a lot coming in, but yeah, generally we had the whole front line and the back line. Nothing but 4-door, some lifted Jeeps. We find for a while, we would buy some stock ones and we would lift them, but we don't do a crazy rock crawler lift. We'll do like a 4-inch lift, put some nice wheels and tires on it. But we also keep some stock because people want just a regular Jeep as well.
Right. What do you predict the used car market is going to be like here in the next, say, 8 to 10 weeks?
I think it's not going down. I think it's going to be just as strong. I don't see how it could go much higher, but I think we're going to be in this for a while, at least another year.
That's what I keep hearing too. It's going to be at least another year before we get out of this new car crunch, where the new car dealers just can't get any inventory.
And do you guys play in the pure EVs on your used car side with the like a Tesla, a Leaf, the Bolt, some of those pure electric vehicles, and how do you find that market as compared to the ICE powered vehicles?
I know the Leaf. We've sold a few of those, and we actually had a customer return one because the range was too short, so they were not happy with it. But we sell them, and that actually kind of got us on a. It actually made us pay attention to buying that particular car more. We try to have them in stock because there's always someone who does short commuting that we can sell them to. But the Teslas, I haven't bought one. My brothers buy them more than I do, and we seem to do pretty well with them. But, then the Tesla, if it's that $50,000 and less, we can sell it. Obviously, it needs to have the big battery, things like that, and the nice big wheels. You don't want to get the one that looks like the 4-cylinder, with the skinny wheels and the
hubcaps.
4-cylinder battery. I love it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You don't want one.
Right. Yeah, because I was kind of wondering, in my head on the used car market, how does the pure EVs, do you draw that traffic in, and are people? And you're telling me that you do have customers coming in asking
absolutely.
for that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We're just we're still investigating that market and trying to educate ourselves about it and learn more about it as we go. But we always try to have a few in stock and kind of see what the customers say. Even when customers don't buy, we try to figure out that reason why. And is it us or is it the car? Obviously, we don't ever want it to be about us. We want to make them happy. But if they're not buying the car, why are you not buying the car? Is it not enough range?
No, it's the green paint, and the red interior.
Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see what you come up with, because I've always thought that, inside Houston, because people don't go very far, but Texas as a whole, it's a long ways from Houston to anywhere. It's a long ways across Houston. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops, because to me, things like the smart car and things that tried to come into Texas, they don't do it. We're just too big for that kind of driving.
You got it. That's right.
Jerry, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for catching us up on the drag racing thing and the education. And also, congratulations on a great, successful dealership down there at Emmons Motors in Friendswood.
Absolutely.
And finals.
Yes,
You got it.
Go for the
you got it.
final.
That's what I hope to be having another conversation with you with the World Championship trophy right
You
here.
bet.
Amen.
Hey,
We'll be cheering you on.
Jerry, take
Thank
care.
you guys
Thanks
very much.
again. Good to see you again. All right.
Thanks.
Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for the racing calendar.
Well, as talking to Jerry, we're finding out that the racing calendar is coming to a quick end. October 31st is Las Vegas, and then November 14th is Pomona, and that's the end of NHRA for the season.
Dun, dun, dun.
NASCAR this weekend is in Kansas. Next weekend is in Martinsville, and then NASCAR Finals is in Phoenix on November 7th. Formula One this weekend as it's Circuit of the Americas. Oh boy, and is Max?
Is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh.
And is Max Verstappen a whiner?
Verstappen,
a whiner. Holy cow! I was watching practice, and not a nice guy. But I've cheered him on. I like him.
Formula One. I wonder who's going to be there.
And then Mexico is the 7th of November. IMSA is going to be at Road Atlanta for their final on November 13th.
All right. Thank you, sir. Time now for this hour's car review.
Aha.
And it is our pre-owned car of the week. Mr. Zekin talks about the 2016 Dodge Dart. And I have to tell you that when they reintroduced the Dodge Dart back in this era, I got invited to the launch event, if you will, for the press. And I was impressed by the Dodge Dart back in the day.
Too. Yeah,
it was a nice little car.
And that's why I picked it. This is 2016 Dodge Dart. Their available trim levels, ready for this? There are 11. 11 trim levels. Now, the Dodge Dart originally came out in 1963 to 1966. And then they moved on to bigger and better things after that. But the demise of this, and I'm going to read you some things here that we found out about it. The launch was flubbed by an emphasis on manual transmissions. The brand lacked the reputation of a competitive builder of small cars after 15 years of neons and calipers. Trim and engine variants were sometimes poorly aligned. The market for the passengers began to shrink overall and the industry expanded. The reasons for the Dodge Dart's demise are many. At the end of its run, however, the Dodge Dart's production end in September of 2016 represents a premature euthanization. So they killed it before they should have. After the Chrysler Automobiles boss, less than 7 months after the Dart, along with larger Chrysler 200s, would be withdrawn from the marketplace over a prolonged period of time. Now, in the videos you're seeing there, I've got a mixture of the Dodge Dart and
new and old.
The generations of it. Now, the main reason is the Jeep Cherokee, which took over the Dodge Dart's position through FCA, which is the old name for Stellantis, and the manufacturing facilities wanted to retool. They weren't selling them. It was a poor launch. And to quote Sergio Marchioni, back in 2013 when it was being developed, "There's nothing wrong with the car," is what he said. And then in 2000,
just people didn't want to buy it.
And in 2016, we have decided to defocus from the manufacturing standpoint to defocus on the passenger car market. So they're getting into the Jeeps.
Well, yeah, utilities, which is where everybody's playing.
Absolutely. So, moving on from that, and it was just as sad that they started something and they couldn't finish it, much like a lot of things in life. So it had a 1.4-liter four-cylinder, 160 to 184 on the horsepower, because there are different trim levels, 148 to 184 foot-pounds of torque with a 6-speed manual transmission, which absolutely killed it. 13.2 to 15.8 gas tank. 3 variations of wheel sizes. You got a 225 45 17, 225 40 18, and a 205 55 16. Trim levels, everything from an SE to a Sport Blacktop to a Sport to a Limited. It goes on and on.
Yeah.
So we're sorry to see that.
But to market it as a 6-speed was their demise.
It's their demise. They kept emphasizing on the manual transmission. It's a good-looking car. I liked it when it came out.
I like the old one.
Millennials couldn't drive it.
I like the old one.
Oh, yeah. There's quite a few pictures
I put a
of
few
old ones
in there. So that's it. Back to you.
Thank you, sir. The
You
In-Wheel
bet.
Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on your favorite podcast channel. And the In Wheel Time Car Show will continue right after this quick break. Sorry.
Winning the highest sales satisfaction award among all luxury brands from J.D. Power tells you everything you need to know about your Lincoln purchase from Bayway. Bayway Lincoln is where a premium buying experience is a priority, and you're invited to feel it yourself. This Houstonian-owned premier dealership is your #1 choice for Lincoln. Become a member of the Bayway family. If it's online, in person, or in your own driveway, Bayway gets you to the luxury level you deserve. Bayway Lincoln is on the Gulf Freeway at Fuquay, just inside Beltway 8. Visit BaywayLincoln.com today. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly cruise-in, will return Saturday, December 18th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Tailpipes and Tacos wants to thank all of the participants and fans who've enjoyed the collector cars, hot rods, customs, originals, and resto mods, and everything in between. We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving and Autorama, but we'll be back for a great Christmas cruise-in on December 18th, so make plans now. You know that Tailpipes and Tacos is the Houston area's coolest cruise-in, a place you'll see friends, family, and the finest cruise-in cars in the Houston area. It all happens at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise-in, Lupi style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos on December 18th. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.
Hello, and welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Show, celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk. Coming up, the Lilienthals.
Yay!
Mercedes and Andy from Washington State.
Awesome.
Conrad will have the car clinic. We'll have this week's Auto News. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars. King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. Post-victory for the Houston Astros, the American League
Pennant winner.
Champions.
Pennant winner.
Now moving on to the World Series.
And don't you
Starts
find
on
it
Tuesday.
ironic that it's probably going to be Atlanta against Texas?
Why is
Atlanta
that?
against Houston.
Why
well,
ironic?
because they took the
All-Star game away
out of
from
Atlanta and they
moved it to
blamed us for
Denver.
cheating.
Yeah.
There you go.
Whatever.
Nanny, nanny, boo, boo.
We're there and not you.
All right.
Okay, I see Dolly and I see Francis on my, romper room. The thing.
No, it's
It was
the
romper.
Lilienthal's. Bring them up. It's not Dolly and Francis.
Not talking about them.
my-
We'll get to them in a minute.
I am so sorry.
Andy and Mercedes. We've been talking about you guys for a couple, 3 months
Yeah,
now.
we do talk about
since the
you.
last time that we saw you guys, and apparently you've had the Lilienthal World Tour because we haven't been able to get a hold of you because you're all out doing something.
This is true.
We've been a little busy
Where have you all been?
everywhere.
Colorado. We drove out to Colorado for the Overland Expo Mountain West show. You've been all throughout the desert Southwest.
Yeah. Arizona, Nevada, California, down towards Mexico, all the way back up through Oregon when I drove home from the Rebelle Rally. Just a couple miles.
Just a couple of little things.
So it was decided before we went on the air that we're going to start with Andy. Normally we would start with you, Mercedes, but we're going to start with Andy today because we're going to talk legalities and banning of cars and what in the world. We read a story here not too long ago about somewhere over there on the East Coast. They're going, we're not going to actually allow you to register that car. So anyway, with that in mind, I'll let you go ahead and explain the story and give us an update of where we stand now. Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole thing started this summer, actually, with the state of Maine not allowing Mitsubishi Delica vans, which are an imported vehicle, brought in under the federal 25-year rule, which states that if a vehicle was never federalized or sold here, that it can be imported into the United States. These vehicles, which were originally for the Japanese market, legally imported, legally registered, were basically the owners of these vans were sent letters stating that the vehicles had to be taken off the roads because they were no longer deemed road legal. They were now only for off-road use. Now, this is despite the fact that these vehicles had been legally registered, legally imported, all that stuff. So there's been this debacle going on in Maine, and for whatever reason, they've only singled out the Mitsubishi Delica. There has been rumors of ex-military vehicles like ex-Hummers being singled out too. I haven't heard anything about that directly. But then in addition, just not too terribly long ago, the state of Rhode Island also decided to start pulling registrations on previously legally registered K cars. Now, I'm not talking about Chrysler K cars from the 80s. What I'm talking about are KEI, which is short for K-Jidosha, K cars from Japan. These are the little small cars, 660 cc's. They're basically sold in Japan, and the people who live there get a tax incentive for having a smaller car. Now, again, under the 25-year rule, you can bring them in. But what we're finding out is that the 25-year rule is a federal rule. Registration is a state-by-state thing. But still, the idea that you've had something legally registered, and then they tell you, "Oh, sorry, not anymore. Give me the plates."
Yeah, park it.
Yeah, there's no grandfathering or anything.
Yeah,
So the
after the state took your money.
So the question is, why do they not want to register these?
It's a good question, and I don't think that there's a real good answer to that at this point. So, as I understand it, what happened was Maine has a visual inspection, and it's run through the Maine State Police. And somebody with one of our other Mitsubishi Delica vans came through, and either they didn't understand what it was or couldn't figure out something about it. So a phone call was made to a higher up. Someone came in and noticed it didn't have the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards decal on it, or FMVSS. And so the FMVSS sticker and all the cars, all your newer cars since probably since 1969, I believe, will have some sort of placard that says this vehicle complies to Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. Well, as it was explained, apparently that vehicle, the Delica, which it doesn't surprise me because it was never federalized.
Well, it's a 7-passenger van, so it's a big van. Was
brought in. They didn't know, they couldn't find this decal, and they said, well, this is clearly an off-road vehicle if it doesn't have the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards thing. And they must have decided that, well, we're just going to say all these vans are not registerable, able to be registered for road use. So basically, the logic, as far as most of us can figure out, is if the vehicle doesn't have a Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard, it's technically, in the state of Maine, an off-road vehicle. And Maine's laws say they don't register off-road vehicles for public use on highways. So now, of course, there's all kinds of weirdness. Like you could register a Model T with wooden wheels, right? And it's all about safety, and
safety.
Right. By the way, there's like no helmet law or anything in Maine for motorcycles. And I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do from a safety perspective.
So Andy, the bottom line is that you find folks over there on the left coast really don't like those people over on the right coast.
I am not going to say that at all.
All right. So what is it? What is it that really concerns you? Because we're just talking about two states that you probably will never visit in your entire life. You're talking about those two. Are you worried about that this thing thing, infection may spread across the United States. That's the real problem, right?
That's absolutely the real problem. I live on the other side of the coast. I live in the other Portland, not Portland, Maine, but Portland, Oregon.
Yep.
But the fear is that this becomes a precedent and starts being going to other states, all in the name of safety and environmental concern and so on and so forth. I have to bring my Delica, which is a diesel, through emissions here in Portland, Oregon.
Yep.
I have to comply, and I've never failed once. All my stuff passes. And if we're talking safety, it's ridiculous because you can register classic microcars that I guarantee are way less safe than my van, which is the size of like a Toyota Sienna.
Yeah.
But so the fear is that not only are they going to come for your Delicas, but they might come for your Rovers. They might come for your MGs. They might come for your older cars, your classics. That 65 Mustang sure is nice, but it's probably not real safe. So then the question becomes, where do you draw the line? How safe is safe enough?
So the fix for this is going to be an effective political action committee on the part of the what I'll call gray market cars. You might not want to call them gray market cars, but this package of cars. So you guys are going to need to have an active lobbying arm to protect yourself state to state to state to state, because federally you're allowed to. So is there an organization of that lobbying arm already formed, and what are they doing?
Yeah, so my first call was to the SEMA Action Network.
Right.
SEMA is Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Association, probably best known for the SEMA show in Las Vegas, but they do a lot of things. So I contacted the SEMA Action Network and have been in touch with them. One of the owners in Maine had a consult with a lawyer, and the consult sort of ended in this idea that this is going to need to be a lobbying thing more than a lawsuit thing. So, again, I don't actually live there. My job as a writer is to get the word out and spread the word. But at the same time, I'm going a little above and beyond that, because I as the owner of 3 JDM vehicles that have been brought in under the 25-year rule, I don't want to end up with 3 Japanese domestic market paperweights.
Right.
So really big ones, or micro Airbnbs.
But also that there's probably a huge market for those cars coming back to Japan. You could probably make millions.
Yeah. It's
yeah,
personal.
so the JDM thing is hot now, and but it's not just Japanese cars. It's any car without a Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards decal that was imported.
There were lots of
I looked to the Land Rover crowd. There's plenty of Land Rovers that are brought in through the UK.
Right, and lots of Mercedes that were brought in through the 70s and 80s.
And Jags.
That they didn't sell here, that they sold in Europe, that they drug in.
Skylines, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So, okay, you guys, so where do we go from here? I mean, our listeners want to get in touch with you, or you want to send them to somewhere? How can we help this cause?
At this point, that's a really good question. I've been digging into it just recently. Asking people, so what's next? Okay, so hey, anybody in Maine, what's happened? And a lot of these guys have already sold their vans, and they're just like, I'm not putting up with it.
So they
got rid of it. So I think what will have to happen is there'll have to be some sort of lobby. I literally yesterday sent SEMA Action Network a follow-up, just saying, hey, where do we go from here? What's next? Is there a lobby? How do we get a lobby? All this kind of stuff. So I think we're going to wait and see.
Basically, the people in Maine have caved. And part of the reason they probably caved in is because the government never runs out of money. And then to individually hire an attorney, it's going to take a relatively wealthy person to push that through.
I got an answer for you guys. You guys need to come down here to Texas. We got it together down here. Come on.
I think it's going to be Congressman Andy pretty soon.
Congressman Andy.
You're not the first people to suggest a run for some sort of thing in Maine. So but that's a long. It's like 3,600 miles away from where I live here in Oregon.
So you commute. You get an apartment. you commute on weekends.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
what it
You
is.
never know. You
Okay,
never
well,
know.
let's switch gears here because my dear sweet Mercedes has been sitting there patiently waiting for her turn. And let's just go for it and talk about the Rebelle Rally and all the things that you've been doing.
Yeah, the Rebelle Rally. It's hard to believe that was it today? I don't know. My days are still blending together. I think today was a week ago now that we just finished the 2021 competition. I partnered with Volkswagen of America and did it all in a 2021 all-wheel drive, all-electric ID4.
Wow.
How in the world did that work? Where do you plug that thing in when you're, a million miles from nowhere?
Solar
Into
chargers.
a cactus.
Yeah, right, exactly. there is something called the sun. There is something that's called solar power. That's pretty much the number one question that I'm getting. I'm getting a lot of people that are sending me direct messages and things like that on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever the place. And the number one thing is, how do you charge this thing? The rally is 8 days total, 7 days of competition. It's about 1,400 miles this year. So, and it's all throughout the California and Nevada deserts. So this year we started in the Hoover Dam and worked our way all the way down to Glamis, next to essentially the Mexican border. So
Mercedes, we're running a video, and I'm just going to stop it at some pictures here, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Please continue on.
So basically what we did is we had, there was one other full EV. There was a Rivian R1T truck, and it was their second year competing. And then the ID4 were the full EVs. There were 5 additional PHEVs, and PH is plug-in hybrids. That being said, there was a remote charging semi truck that we all basically synced up with whenever we had a chance to get there.
Now, wait, just stop right there. Let's see. Does that not either have diesel or doesn't it have fossil fuel that powers it?
Just the generators.
It wasn't supposed to. So there's a couple different things. It wasn't supposed to have any fossil fuel tied to it this year. They were going to be powered with hydrogen, and that there was an issue with the truck. They tried a couple of other trucks. They couldn't work things out. And unfortunately, the remote charging station was powered by a diesel generator. That was a backup of backup plans. It was supposed to have been hydrogen. The base camp.
Well, you don't have to be so defensive about it.
No,
really.
I mean, it's the truth. It's what's interesting is you have to plan for contingencies, especially if you're in the middle of the desert with EVs.
Of course.
We're on the cusp of just the beginning of the greatness of the EV movement, especially off-road. So that was kind of all right, we have to go back to plan C, D, E, F to make it work. Renewable Innovations was the company that pulled everything together, that had the remote semi truck that charged us. And then also at base camp, they had a fabulous new, they had like solar flowers that came up and followed the sun. And that was powered by hydrogen, to my understanding. So the goal is to be 100% sustainable and 100% green, both base camp and rolling charging.
Beautiful pictures you guys took of your Volkswagen out there in the boonies.
Yeah, who took those? Was that Andy taking those?
Well, some of it was.
I wish.
I wish. So they're depending on the photos they do. Rebelle Rally does have in-house staff, so I'm not seeing what is being posted right now. I do have many photos I actually took myself with my own camera. You can't have a GPS-enabled camera, so they're all older cameras if competitors do want to bring in their gear and be able to take, secret, or, not secret, but quick shots along the way. Those will end up in articles and things like that of that nature. So a wide variety of photos and all of that will be had.
Well, how in the world did you get chosen to do this? Did you raise your hand and say, I want to do it? And they said, come on down?
Pretty exciting.
Me. Sorry, my voice is a little bit hoarse still. By planets aligning and opportunity and having that time already open, because I was planning on being there as media. Volkswagen had approached me and said, hey, this is what we're wanting to do. We know it's a big challenge. The ID4 is a great commuter car. It's a brand new vehicle. The rear wheel drive variant has been out for maybe 6 months or so. The all-wheel drive version didn't come out until a month before the rally. So that's brand new. And that's what they wanted to run in the rally.
I want to talk about range. What kind of range did you have?
Don has range anxiety.
Bad.
As does everybody, it seems. So in a perfect world, the rating is 249 miles in range.
Yeah.
That is important to note because that's ideal circumstances, great weather, downhill probably, that type of thing.
With a tailwind.
With a tailwind,
Yeah,
right, exactly. Going slowly. But it wildly varied in the rally because we had literally a day and a half of a severe dust storm, windstorm.
Oh, wow.
We had huge rocks. We had tight trails off camber. We had loose sand. We had hot temperatures. We had 20-degree temperatures. So that all affects the battery. So we, in the Volkswagen was great, super rock solid. We never had any issues mechanically or battery wise. So that's a huge testament to Volkswagen of America and Volkswagen Corporate. The all-wheel drive right now is being built in Germany until the Chattanooga factory comes online. But that being said is, we were constantly shifting. My navigator, Emily Winslow, was constantly shifting her calculations and rechecking me to say, okay, we went 10 kilometers because the rally we did in kilometers. And she said, okay, 10 kilometers, I would call up the usages. She'd say, okay, you're at about 1.5 or 2 kilometers of range to every 1 traveled, or up to 4 or more in really tough terrain, range to 1 traveled. So it could be anywhere from like 4 plus to 1, or it could be 1 to 1 or even less. If I'm regenerating and going down a really steep, slow paved section as a transit in Death Valley, I was able to make 10 kilometers back. So constant recalibration, constant figuring out how this works, rechecking your numbers, and navigating and driving in a completely different way.
I was going to say, you got to figure out where you're going at the same time.
Yeah.
So
and there is something called checkpoints. You had to basically find hidden checkpoints all throughout the desert and get those, and people with the most points won. So there's a lot going on, a huge challenge, and I think for us, we came 8th out of 10th in the crossover class, and to me, it's a fine testament to the vehicle, and we finished super strong, never had any tire puncture issues, no issues with the vehicle, not even a rattle. I was expecting there might be even rattles over some of the washboards and things that took it through. Nothing.
Wow.
So when you got to your night stop and plugged into the mothership that was, I'm assuming, following you, was it charging you at 220? Was it charging you at 440?
So it was DC fast charge. So they had a couple of different charging opportunities. So there was also Kia, and then Jeep had, Kia had the Sorento plug-in hybrid. The Jeep had the 4xe plug-in hybrid. So they, I think, had the slower charge, but they were plugged in overnight. The Rivian and myself, we were able to do the really quick fast charge. So I believe in about an hour or so, we were fully charged up.
Wow.
The Rivian, to my understanding, had a bit over 300 miles of range. And so this, I believe, is also production EV battery pack versus last year when they first did it was a prototype battery pack. So they were running at a big experiment too, because that really hasn't been done before.
The Rivian had a bigger battery pack too than the
Well, yeah, just size of the vehicle. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think theirs was, if don't quote me, but I think theirs was 314 of range and ours is 249 of range.
Got it. Okay, so what are the plans for you? Are you going to do the Rebelle Rally again? What have you got in your future now till, let's say, the springtime?
Oh, that's a great question. I've got loads of articles, podcasts, radio shows, and things like that talking about our experience because it's so much on the forefront of that technology. What are the challenges? What's great? How did it do? Especially with it being an unconventional off-roader, that's going to be taking a good bit of time. So stay tuned to my social media or Crankshaft Culture. We'll be posting those types of bits of news as they transpire. I'd love to do the Rebelle Rally again. I think especially partnering with Volkswagen and in an unconventional vehicle that you wouldn't think of. Oh, wow, I'm going to take this ID4 electric car.
Well, let me think here. Who would be unconventional? I don't know anybody could be
that
unconventional.
Would be you.
It's the Lilienthals. That's who it is,
and
yes.
I think Volkswagen has a couple of 100,000 used diesels sitting around somewhere.
That they're trying to get registered somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
In Maine.
I think with Volkswagen, they were an exceptional partner because they they wanted to push the boundaries. They wanted to see the vehicle capability. You know, yes, there are limitations of it. There are limitations to every single, make model that was out there. But to be able to put your neck out there and say, you know what, let's try this. Let's do this. Let's see if it works. And let's have fun. They build fun cars. They build vehicles that are just rock solid. And how can I be victorious and make it work as a driver, as well as Emily Winslow, my partner? She's in Puyallup in Washington, so just north of us in Oregon. And how can she navigate me there so we never would run out of charge, and we never did.
Awesome. That is great.
Wow.
So who cooks a Thanksgiving dinner at y'all's house?
Well, it kind of
Usually we
depends.
go to Victoria.
Yeah, we usually use it as a time to go on vacation. We've been up to Canada a lot of times, so.
Yeah, they don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Canada.
No,
so
they
who
have their
cares?
own Thanksgiving, in July or something.
They have Mounties.
Right. We go, we don't really cook Thanksgiving. Usually we've gone up there, but who knows? Right now, I'm not sure what I'm doing tomorrow other than writing.
Spice up the chicken, wrap it in extra heavy-duty foil wrap, park it on top of the intake manifold, drive to Canada, and rotate it around a couple of times. It'll be done when you get there.
Manifold cooking.
I was going to say that's not going to happen in an EV.
As Mike would say, haul some donkey up to Canada.
Haul some donkey. That's it. It is always so much fun to talk to you guys. We love you guys and love following everything that you guys are doing.
We talk about you all the time.
We honestly do. That's true.
As long as it's all good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. It truly is.
You,
and
you need Don on your podcast.
Yeah, that's what you need.
You need Don on your podcast.
Have that podcast go right down the toilet is what you have there.
You talk about his 50th high school reunion.
Andy, Mercedes, it's great to talk to you guys and get caught up. Best of luck to you here in the next few months, and let's talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us
on the show.
Love you
Thank
guys.
you.
Y'all take care. Oh, my gosh. It's always
Some cool people. Very cool people.
We could have them on for hours.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
We could do
They
it.
got great stories.
We could have the Lilienthal show.
Yeah.
And make the whole show about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they'd have to get up awful early.
Well, that is true.
We could do remote from their place.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
now there you go.
See, and I always thought the whole show was about Don.
Oh.
It always has to come down
You're
to
gonna make
this.
them cry again.
Yeah, again. Again.
You know, I listen to the stories about the rally that they go on, and I'm thinking, it's women only, which I think is a great thing for them.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking, if I could still get into my dress, maybe I could sneak into it.
Hey, that's right.
Listen, Halloween is next weekend, brother. I mean, we're
The race
in.
is over.
And then you could be a manual tranny.
That would be a drag race.
Oh, God.
Manual training.
All right.
Sorry.
Oh, boy.
Thank you very
Off
much
the
for
rails.
that. All right, we're going to wrap up today's In Wheel Time Car Show after this quick break.
We all know about aftermarket and online parts stores, and each one has something to offer, but they don't offer original factory parts. That's where Bayway comes in. For original factory parts, visit the Bayway stores first. Give them a call or stop by. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln carry a complete line of parts for the do-it-yourselfer. Keeping your newer classic original means a lot, and you can count on these fully stocked parts departments to help keep it that way. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln, keeping it original. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly cruise-in, will return Saturday, December 18th to the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Tailpipes and Tacos wants to thank all of the participants and fans who have enjoyed the collector cars, hot rods, customs, originals, and resto mods, and everything in between. We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving and Autorama, but we'll be back for a great Christmas cruise-in on December 18th, so make plans now. You know that Tailpipes and Tacos is the Houston area's coolest cruise-in, a place you'll see friends, family, and the finest cruise-in cars in the Houston area. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise-in, Loopy style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos on December 18th. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The in-wheel time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.
Well,
Hot diggity.
that's another wrap for another episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. When you're on our Facebook page, please give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk if you would, please. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive. We always throw in some fun stuff too, and upcoming events all week long. The In-Wheel Time Car Show streams live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast outlet 7 days a week. And hopefully soon we'll be a TikTok member.
Set your decoder rings.
Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In-Wheel Time Chief Engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Our Marketing Manager and Video Technical Director is We Need More Jeff Zekin. And for Podcast Agent, Booking Agent, and all-around weirdo,
Did pretty good today.
Mike Out of This
Awesome.
World Mars and
He's
his
out of this
royalty
world.
King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. Today's show is produced by all of the Brandons in the world. Be sure to join us again next week for another exciting adventure
Let's go,
in
Brandon.
Car Talk on the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Have a great weekend, a great week. Stay safe and cool like you know you are. We'll see you then.